Hey guys, this is David Spade and Dana Carvey, and before we get into Ben Stiller, we just wanted to share a few thoughts about the other night with the Will Smith Rock situation. Rock is obviously a buddy of ours. We had him on here a little bit ago, and we have a common denominator, which is being bullied growing up. I was a certified pipsqueak and always being pushed around, and it really hit a nerve with me and Dana. Also, and Rock had talked about it on this podcast. I could jokingly say that slap in the face was a real slap in the face for comedy. But it is true that on a serious note, this is a dangerous precedent. That was the straw that broke Will Smith's back. It couldn't have been a medium rough joke, just bad timing. It was like a Jack in the Box that you hear ding 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 ding, and here's Chris Rock. So that was just the one where he decided to flip, and not sure what Will's going through. I met him, seems like a decent enough guy. I'd love to see him in a roast. I mean, listen, comedy is rough. I just did a comedy special for Netflix, and there's some stuff in there that makes me laugh. People could get offended by. It's just the way it is. I hope roasts aren't outlawed soon. I mean, my God, I don't know. I just thought it dimmed some light on the other performers that night. You didn't really think about any other performer, anybody that won. It was just that. And they allowed him on stage again. I probably wouldn't have. Not a lot of defense of Chris right there and then at the show. Like other people are standing up and giving Will a standing ovation like nothing happened. I thought that was all very odd. And I honestly just don't think he should have been able to go get his award. I hate to say it, but there's got to be some consequence because you shouldn't be allowed to do that. Dana?
Well, first of all, I've seen real anger and experienced it. So the first thing I thought was I was triggered because everyone talks about triggers when I saw a very large person go full shithouse physical on a person who's not small, but much smaller. And that just like, whoa, viscerally just hit me. So I saw a bully. I was just taken back to my childhood. And, when I entered high school, I was 5 feet tall, 93 pounds. I looked like a fetus with shoes. But my point is...
Me too, dude. Yeah.
I'm not a psychiatrist, but I played one on TV. But this was not about Chris Rock. It was not about the joke. Something else is going on, especially the second time Will said, keep my wife's name out of your fucking mouth. The energy and rage and anger of that was so extreme. So I don't really know, but mental health is a thing that I would just say needs help. Secondarily, where was security? Could anyone else have gotten away with that? It was very awkward. And then to give him a standing ovation, he had 45 minutes to kind of pull it together. He had Denzel Washington talking to him, other really smart people, Bradley Cooper, but he couldn't pull it together to apologize. Instead, sort of doubled down. I protect women. So
the word protect was heavy in there.
Yeah, I'm protecting. And then the next morning, he got that ring, ring. Hi, this is your publicist, Brian, and maybe we should talk, because then there was the apology. So I just looked at it as a bully. It triggered me. And I think it was kind of horrific and just felt bad. Chris is our friend and our colleague. And I don't want to see anybody slap like that at any time on television, especially, or anywhere. David?
Yeah, it's funny, Dana, when you get older, like us, when we were bullied, and I know Rock was bullied as a kid, a little skinny kid, and he said it really stuck with him, and it does. It's the root of a lot of things. I get me mad. I have a short temper, and any bullying in a car cutting me off, or a guy, if I'm on a date, coming up to me and looking at me and going, okay, I could take this guy, and so I'll hit on this girl right in front of him. Those little forms of it are there all the time.
Yeah.
So when I saw that obvious just walk up, hit him, and walk away, and almost like laughing, like, fuck you, what are you going to do about it? It made me spin out like, oh my God. So it bothered me all night. I thought Chris was pretty cool about it, of course. But what do? Your mind's spinning. I'm on live TV, a billion people. What's happening? What do I go down? Do I hit him back? I couldn't even read the prompter after that. I'd probably be going, I got to get out of here. This is
Chris
too
handled
nuts.
it perfectly. And I give him a lot of credit for keeping it together after something like that, you know?
I actually thought Will Smith would walk up if he was staying and he's joking around, laughing, which was sort of more crazy in my head, or more, that's not a good word, but it was just more unusual. And then when he got his award, I would have said, what the fuck was I doing with Chris Rock? That was nuts. Sorry.
Yeah, I thought that for sure.
The jokes got to me. How stupid. I'm going to go back and tell him right now, thank you for this award. Whatever. Any acknowledgement would have just taken all the pressure out and gone, it was nuts. We'll still talk about it, but hey, something else is going on clearly. And I'm sure Chris is your friend. Like it was all tough to watch. So I don't have a ton to say about it other than what we just said. I mean, it'll all work out. Everyone will walk away, but definitely an odd moment in time.
You know, before that moment, of course, my relationship with Will Smith was just from afar as a very likable, positive person. So it's disturbing on so many levels. It gave everyone a relief from COVID and Ukraine, you know, so the whole culture has been rotated on this moment because it was so shocking. And I really just, I don't know. It's still going on because Chris hasn't spoken at this hour. Yeah.
I hope they make up. They seem to be, it seems they're friends, and like them to get back to that and have everyone live happily ever after. It's tough to live with that hanging over your head if you think someone's out there after you.
Hey, Lady Gaga, who's beautiful, but she's always working with really old people. Like, she gets next to Tony Bennett. She looks like a high school senior. Last night, they wheel out Liza Minnelli, poor sweet woman. And then Lady Gaga looks like she's in 8th grade. I don't know. It's a
I know.
move.
And Us Magazine immediately did who wore it better and who looked better. And that was unfair. Also, Dana, Regina, one of the hosts, beautiful, lovely woman. She did a bit that I have to say, as an observer, I'm for all forms of comedy, but if everyone else gets to complain, if it's a male host bringing the prettiest actresses up to analyze them and take them backstage
and grope them,
COVID test, then pat them down, it just wouldn't fly. I mean, I don't care. They're writing bits. Someone in the room should have gone, what if someone doesn't love this idea? But listen, fine. I just have to say it because I don't care. Just either let everyone do comedy in general, men, women, or just don't. But you can't say, you can't do this, you can do that. That's all. Mm-hmm. You agree?
Totally agree. It was really surprising. Maybe the Oscars are coming back now. If they have more fights, more politically incorrect things, and they go just ape shit, you know, maybe it'll become a huge winner again. I don't know. I mean, the only thing could have been bigger would be a melee. Chris fights back, and then you've got Nicole Kidman, who knows her way around the block. You've got Keith Urban coming up. Yeah. You've got Costner probably with a shotgun stopping the whole fight. Tyler Perry would have gotten in there. So
Joe Jonas is ripped. He would have come down. There's a lot of people that have been trained to do movies like that where they have training so they can come in and send them. I mean, I don't know if Keanu was there. He needed to be. It must have been tough for Chris to sit in the back and realize literally nothing happened. No one walked up, no security, no stop the show, no. It was just like, on with the show. This is it.
Standing ovation for the
standing ovation.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard to pull for the bully. I don't know. Will Smith, probably a great guy. Just in that particular instance, it was the bad guy to me.
I've talked to people who grew up not bullied because they were bigger at a young age and so forth and so on. Or maybe their father didn't bully them. They're like, what?
Yeah,
what?
They don't get it.
They didn't get it. But that's what my takeaway was. But I wish everyone the best in the end of the day. So I'm not a negative Nancy.
No. We'll all land on our feet. All right, here's the show, squad. Dana, we've got Benjamin Stiller.
Ben Stiller. Yeah,
Ben Stiller, who's pretty much a superstar.
I would say, I would say if you add up everything he's done, by the time you get to the end, you can't even remember the whole amount. If you read his IMDb, you get exhausted. He's done it all.
You get exhausted. I mean, if you think of Night at the Museum, 1, 2, and 3, right there. That's over a couple of years to do 3 movies that are very long. Robin Williams is in it. All these great people in them. They all crushed. They all killed worldwide.
PG family movie, check. Three. You got to have an animated franchise. Madagascar, 1, 2, 3. How about doing a comedy with Robert De Niro? Meet the Parents, Meet the Weather, Meet the Fockers.
1 and 2.
1,
That's right.
2,
yeah,
3.
Zoolander,
1, 2. I'm going to call him the franchise kid.
I mean, my gosh. It's unbelievable. And he's a cool dude. I saw him last year. I don't see him a lot, but I saw him last year at Sundance, which is it's a dance place I go to. So we went out there and people were hounding him. The guy, I think, he directs a lot now, but he's got a very interesting life. He did Saturday Night Live. He did it for how many shows?
5 shows.
5 shows.
Yeah.
And that's the riveting hook of why we get to talk to him, because we want to talk about that. And he's just a guy that's very cool, big star. Something About Mary was a monster. I mean, you don't even get to that one, and it's so big.
Dodgeball, all these big comedies. And
he directs a lot. And he's got the new show Severance.
Which is cool, weird sci-fi. So yeah, all props to him. He's a very unassuming person and kind of shy. But we're going to tease him out on today's show.
Oh yeah, we'll flush him out of the brush.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Is it mano a mano? Is it a fight? No, it's a conversation. But things will happen.
It's a fight.
Things will happen. But yeah, looking forward to talking to our friend Ben.
I'm already thinking of how I'm going to interrupt you during the show when you're asking very good questions.
Well, yeah, when I'm running out of steam, I should have a signal like, just please bail me out on this. Please interrupt me. I am winding down and I have no, it's hard.
Anyway, so Ben Stiller, I hope you're going to have a good time with him. An old school SNLer that spun it out into his own sketch show and won an Emmy for it. But he'll tell you all about it.
Yeah. Revenge of whatever. Yeah, he won the Emmy, beat out his old gang 2 years after
From
they
SNL.
bounced him.
That's such a crazy story.
Yes, crazy story.
I think there's a movie there. It's like a comeback movie, Tale of Vengeance. It's a bit of a Rocky theme.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, and he was a lightweight boxer. Yeah, he was. I think 82-7 as an amateur boxer, if I read that correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm super fly on the wall weight. Oh boy.
Yeah.
The jokes are getting worse.
Well, fly on the wall. Fly on the wall.
Fly.
Gotta fly. Don't blah, blah.
All right. Let's just get to Ben Stiller. These people are sick of us.
Ladies and gentlemen, we give you the one and only Ben Stiller.
Ben Stiller.
Yeah.
I'm okay if I gotta be. Oh shit, there's that guy.
Yeah.
Mr. Stiller.
Yeah.
If someone said to me, this is what I was going to start with. If someone said to me, Ben Stiller is probably the biggest, most successful comedic influence of his generation, the last 20 years, my answer, I wouldn't punch them in the face. Like I wouldn't have an argument with them. I wouldn't get mad. I would go, huh.
It would make you go, okay. If they said Spade was, you'd go, no.
I was looking over your films and I was reading them out loud to my wife and she goes, man, he might be underrated. I mean, it's like, it's kind of crazy.
Underrated.
Or lucky. I'd say lucky.
Oh, yeah, mostly luck. Come on. Okay. I'm just going to get these out of the way real fast. Then we're going to get into Severance.
Right. Are these all the fucking monster movies?
Nah, I'm not going to go to existential questions. It's two Howards coming at you with coffee and them overlapping. So you jump. You can ask us questions too, Ben. We're excited because you're here.
There's certain impressions I'm going to request, and we'll get to that later.
The last 40 minutes is about us.
Believe me, Eddie Munster. By the way, I just talked to Mike Myers about Eddie Munster on Sprockets, the very first Sprockets.
That was the first one, right?
Yeah. Incredible. Yeah. Okay, just real quick, commence blushing. Okay, Night of the Museum, 3 great movies. Meet the Parents, got 3 out of that. Then you do something.
Got 3 out of that.
No, but those are brilliant. Something
definitely, in terms of ringing movies out of a concept, I'm definitely top of the heap. Yeah.
Night at the Museum, you had so many that you got to present history people. You got to like Joe Biden.
Then you do Tropic Thunder and Zoolander, Dodgeball, Starsky Hutch as broad characters. You do something about
Just to
Mary.
kill time.
My observation for you, Ben, which maybe you've never thought of before, it's very difficult in modern comedy. What you did was play these broad characters and then have a character that could travel as Ben Stiller in movie. That's all I got. I'm tapped out. David, you go. That's all I have for the day.
I like that analysis.
We'd like a 40-minute answer.
I think it was basically, it was basically doing what was there, coming at me. And I never really, look, when I was at my short time at SNL, I was so overwhelmed by the level of sketch comedy acting prowess that was there. I never ever was, I never considered myself to be good at that. I did like I loved sketch comedy. I liked to do it and try to do it. But I think I never felt like, I always felt like, okay, I'm kind of like trying it and I can kind of do it sometimes and it's fun to do, but I never considered myself, that wasn't like my wheelhouse really, even though I like to do it.
Well, it would have been curious because if say it was a government order that Ben Stiller has to do 100 episodes of Saturday Night Live, because I felt altered after about 80 episodes. It took me to I faked it in the beginning, You only did like 5 shows, right? So who could get relaxed?
It was so intense and overwhelming. You were there.
It's crazy.
It's funny that it was because it is, and then you do movies, which there's makeup, there's directing, directing is no easy task. There's so many pressures of just being in the movies and TV. And it is true that one hits you in sort of a different way where you get in there and you're just like hit around going, what the fuck is happening? You don't see it coming, even though you think you do.
Yeah, because of the whole process of the week leading up to the show and what it takes to get to the show and what it takes to get a sketch on the show. And then to really understand how to gear yourself to, and you were both really good at it, to, for that 11:30 show. Because the thing that always sort of was like this kind of crazy mind fuck for me was when you do that dress rehearsal, and the dress rehearsal would be like, all right, we nailed it. And the dress rehearsal was like, yeah, but we actually haven't done it for real at all yet. Because nobody saw that.
Yeah.
And then it's worse on air and you go, God damn it.
Yeah,
you hate one dress goes too well. You always want, the idea was that the live show in the back of your head, if that voice is talking, it's saying, this is the best you've done it all week. This is, I'm actually doing it. It's going the best. It doesn't always happen, but I remember the intensity when we did Dustin Hoffman and Tom Cruise, and just, you're in the slats and then the music's playing, and then it is kind of like they just push you, and all acting or comedy, it's all about getting it out of your own head.
Surreal.
But
it's
I go,
so surreal.
And then you're giving yourself a report card. Like, am I okay? Am I doing it too much? Where's Ben? I mean, I get it. It's just, it's a ridiculous concept, really. It's a torture.
Or that, and I'm sure you guys talk about it on this podcast all the time. The like that feeling right before you go on, and right before you get, have to go out the door. Or just like the surreal nature of like your whole life wanting to be a part of SNL, and then you get there and then you're doing it, and then it's like, it's just crazy.
So that, I don't know. The voice in your head goes, I'm on SNL and I'm doing it. We had Julia Sweeney on, and she came in one show early and just watched the show. But she was so adept at doing sketch comedy, she said she wasn't nervous. She looked at it and said, oh, I can do that. But then she got nervous later. But initially it was like, la-di-da, just say your lines.
But did you guys get nervous doing it?
Oh, sick. Yeah. I mean, I wasn't, when I was there, I did the same thing as Julie did. I went there a week early and watched, and I had the other reaction of, I cannot do this. Like I was a stand-up. Now she's coming from an improv group. So she's used to quick changes. She's used to blah, 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 everything, jumping around in characters. And I'm watching it going, are you out of your mind and how fast it moves? And during the commercials, that's really all the time you have? I didn't really get that part. Like if it's 30 seconds, it's 30 seconds. Or they go to a fake graphic in the front. That's just to buy you some time. And then when I was doing my first update piece, I'm on the side. And it's such a little studio when I got there that I go, so when I walk 3 feet, 10 million people see me. And then I come back, and it's just some stagehand chewing gum going, good job.
Good job.
And then they move the camera and look at the other guy, and I go, is that it? Like, did anyone see it? That went out there?
Yeah, it actually happened. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't have my phone. I'm not on a cell phone back then. So then hopefully somebody saw it somewhere and they tell you, but you just go the rest of the night and everyone's doing their thing.
My first sketch, I never did sketch comedy. I just did stand-up. My first sketch was a cold opening with Jan Hooks and Phil Hartman. And when I landed a laugh, my head wanted to turn toward the audience like a stand-up. But I go, keep looking at Phil. He's the host of the game show. So, but I could show you church chats early on where she's going like this. Her hand goes up and it's wet with sweat,
Sure.
But you were so good, but that's crazy that you never did sketch comedy at all before the show. I never knew that.
I was doing it as a stand-up, but didn't really know it. I didn't have any jokes. I've written maybe 2 jokes in my life. I was doing one-man sketch, but there was no theater group in SF at the time. Anyway, but
I do think that with you guys both coming from stand-up, that did at least prepare you in a way, because it's the live experience of going up in front of an audience, and I had some of that, but I didn't come out of stand-up, and there's the natural sort of thing of being in front of an audience. I'd done some theater, but that I always gravitated towards having more takes and doing it, what you do in a movie where you could just you could do it a number of times. That was really what I felt more comfortable doing, which is why I went running away after a few weeks.
And won the Emmy for Best Television Sketch Show 2 years later.
Well, yeah. So but I was like looking at that environment going, oh man, this is really hard. I don't know if I will do well. And even when I, think back on the few things that I did there, I was so nervous. Even, Sprockets, that was his first Sprockets. And Mike was just so that was such a great sketch. That character, it was all so well formed. He was a great sketch writer right out of the box. And he was just so, he understood, I was doing whatever character I was doing. Eddie Munster wasn't even a character. It was just a guy in an Eddie Munster outfit.
Well, it was a very funny take on it. Yeah, the outfit was hysterical.
But, Dieter was such a perfect kind of SNL type character. Sure. He just understood the structure of it and everything instinctively.
Yeah, well, I get that. I mean, Mike did a lot of sketch comedy before he got SNL. That would be helpful, but still.
But Ben, did you do? Was it A Color of Money? Why would you do that? You did a video, and what did you do that for? Is that what they saw? Is that what Lauren saw? I liked it.
Yeah. I was doing a play off Broadway. And I saved up the money I'd made in the play to do this takeoff on The Color of Money with a couple of friends of mine. And we made this short, and I didn't know what to do with it, because I basically had made a short, but there was nowhere. Sure. It was pre everything, there was no
Funny
YouTube.
or Die, no nothing.
There was nothing. So it was sort of I had this 16 millimeter short that I made.
Useless.
And that was transferred to 3/4 inch tape. So I had this 3/4 inch tape I was taking around, and John Lovitz had come to the show that I was doing, the play called The House of Blue Leaves, and he had come backstage, and I reached out to him. I didn't even know him really. And I said, hey, I got this short. I'd love to try to get it to, somebody to see for the show. And he took it up to Lauren. He literally took the tape up to Lauren.
Oh, it's a VHS.
The romance of that.
Yeah.
When I hear about somebody, let's put on a show and financing, making a short film, and then having it go somewhere. Because imagine all the young people now putting stuff on YouTube. But the fact, and I did watch some of it this morning. It was absolutely hysterical. They make up on you.
It was all and it was all my friends and my parents and my grandfather. It was the whole cast of it was just people doing favors.
And the Tom Cruise impression and character was so potent and bizarre, and your look was so amazing. I mean, what it was? You must have laughed your ass off.
Youth. It was called Youth.
Well, Tom,
I was just hysterical. Doing it because we kind of had the idea for the movie. It was Steve Klayman, Ralph Howard, my two friends, and we had this idea, and it was who's going to do Cruise? Because we knew we had the idea, but and Steve actually did a cruise too, and I was oh well, maybe I should do Cruise, and then we had a cruise off, a little.
We should do the best part.
Well, what was your not to interrupt Ben, but what was your into Cruise? Usually it's one hook. You did it in the restaurant.
it was one thing. It was just sort of
yeah,
his laugh, the high pitch.
But I see him in that. Yeah.
Smiles and looks around.
But all you need is one thing, and that was it.
You take the one thing and then you transmogrify
until
it
no one knows what I'm doing.
So fascinated by that. Which I'd love to understand what your method is, because you talk about it sometimes.
I'm trying right now with Biden. I'm still trying to find.
Yeah, hooks. But your Biden is great. Where are you at with your Biden right now?
Well, I don't know. Well, the latest hook was that he yelled in the beginning. It was like, "Come on, here's the deal. My dad lost a job. No joke. Not kidding around here." That was, it was not a joke, and he said no joke. And then he makes lists. Number 1, the one part. Number 2, what the guy said. Number 3, you know the drill. Come on, it isn't rocket science, folks. And then once in a while,
saying nothing,
he gets mad. I know how to do this. I can talk loud. Look at me go.
And he's finally had it.
Do it.
Right.
And then he whispers.
Yeah, you just.
No, but.
Yeah, no, please.
No, the whispers are really funny. The whispers when he comes down, you go, "What's going? Who's he talking to? Is there someone right by the podium?" It takes a while
to do someone, and also for the audience to get used to that person. Just little hooks later on. I know more about Biden's voice now than I did 6 months ago. But anyway,
I think it's your comedic hooks into the characters. To me, are always like what you choose to focus on is what makes it so funny, because it's like something nobody else would think, and then you're like, oh my god, yes, that's exactly what he does.
That's the hard part. And when when you do it, Dana, and then someone like George Bush, like back in the day when there's only 4 channels on SNL that all the presidents are aware, and then they almost do what you're doing because that's what they're supposed to be doing. It's such a weird thing that happens.
I wanted to learn Michael Caine because of, was it Steve Coogan? Yeah. Those guys traveling around Europe in their car and doing impressions.
Oh, yeah, the trip. Yeah.
And they were so good at Michael Caine. That was me consciously wanting to learn Michael Caine just for myself. Not to put on TV or anything.
But then how do you do it knowing that exists? Do you just go to Michael Caine and go, I'm going to come up with my own take on it?
Yeah, I realized.
And what is it?
I used to do it like this, and then I realized the whole hook is the nasal. You could talk like that, but if you go totally nasal, you got him there. And the hook that I do is I do Michael Caine in kindergarten. So it's Michael Caine at 5 years of age. And the line is, I like to eat paste. I don't know why. I like to eat things in the classroom. I chew on a hula hoop. And I ate a cheddar ball, a hula hoop. So that's right. But as far as Saturday Night Live having that focus, like it's going to be on TV Saturday, I'm terribly lazy about these things. So anyway, you understood how to do that, and it's a specific art form that I think some people are built for and some people aren't.
But what's the difference? Like, so you go on there and you do, I guess it was, you said 5 shows, maybe Dana said that. But then you go ultimately, not revenge, but you still are interested in it. You go back and do your own show, and then it works. You got to feel a little good. Like, see, it just wasn't my situation. That wasn't perfect for me.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I made the decision in the moment. And I think it was after I made that decision, in retrospect, a lot of people, including people in my life, are like, wow, you quit Saturday Night Live, and which was like, oh, yeah, geez. But I did have a specific thing that I was going to, which was this MTV show, which was Jeff Kahn and I were working on this thing called It's Your Hour, where you could kind of do your own thing. And it was really because of the shorts. And that time I wanted to be doing short films, and I wanted to do what Albert Brooks had done on the show. Oh. That was sort of my dream. And he'd go and make these little short films and then show them on the show. And that wasn't happening back at that point. And so I had an opportunity to do that. And really, I think instinctually, I just felt like, oh, I'll be more comfortable doing this, and I'll be able to, be better. What's
funny, Ben, is that to go like, you go to MTV and they go, why should we do a show with you about sketches? You go, well, my resume shows you I just quit a sketch show. And they go, oh, so we should do one with you? And you go, yeah.
I was at the Emmys.
That's all you need to know.
Saturday Night Live was having a good year. It was the political campaign, everything. And the winner is for Best Comedy Show. The Ben Stiller Show. And I remember you and Bob Odenkirk and your gang going up there and just how shocked you were. Can you describe that feeling of like...
Oh, it was surreal. I mean, yeah, we'd been canceled for 9 months already. I think we'd been off the air for that long. And
you were canceled, that's right.
Yeah, we weren't even on the air.
Oh, that's even more of a shocker.
It was crazy. And, I think there was a fair amount of bitterness towards Fox that we all felt because we felt, we thought like, our show is, we were good and give us a chance, but we really didn't play our cards right with the network. It was a fledgling Fox network, at that time. They weren't even on fully, they were on maybe 12 hours a week or something. And we were up against 60 Minutes. So we had awful ratings. And, and also we were a weird show. I don't think anybody should have really watched us necessarily, but we felt very slighted.
I loved it.
But, the head of the network, I think we did something. I know there was a moment when there was some sort of presentation. I think it might have been the TCA things, which is like the Television Critics Association. And you go up and you talk to everybody. And Bob and I and Janine were up there and we made some joke about the head of the network's hair. I think Bob did, looking like an old-timey Leatherhead football helmet, like that. That movie Leatherhead?
Yeah. That was old.
Yeah, we made a joke about the head of the network's hair looking like that, and that might have been the nail in the coffin for us. And after that, we didn't expect that, to win. I didn't expect to win. I heard Bob talking about it recently and saying that he actually thought we might have had a chance. But which he was such a great sketch writer.
Yeah,
he was amazing as a sketch writer.
So funny, Dana. It's so funny.
Yeah,
he was.
And he really, I think it was a lot of his writing was on the episode that won it, for us. So it was great. It was, and then I said some stupid thing about like Fox, you missed something here. You're still like waving my image.
I was sitting next to Lauren when your name was announced or the show, and Lauren just went, "Oh,
that guy."
He didn't respond. Oh, I see.
Yeah.
It's going to be one of those nights.
Yeah,
Marcy. Anyway,
I was listening to you guys break down the Lauren impressions on one of your recent episodes, which I can never, always entertaining to listen to different interpretations, different Lauren. I guess Rob Lowe does a good one.
Oh yeah, I do a copy of anyone's copy. I'm like a CC of a CC. It comes
exactly.
down.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
I'll try to do. That's all I can do.
Just noises.
How does Lauren feel about it? You think? I mean, at this point,
I think he is.
Funny.
I think he's Lauren. He's aware of it all. Right. He doesn't dig into it. I think he understands how it's meant because everybody always is doing it with a sense of like Lauren is this singular entity that is created. This
it's like
thing.
he's a celebrity now, and it's like a celebrity impression in a weird way.
And he also knows, anytime he does a sketch on the show, he always knows how to do himself.
Yeah, he comes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he always can be.
He would have a glass of Chardonnay. At least the first season, he'd walk around the floor during the live show. I guess just to try to calm us down, But he was an intimidating figure. But then after you're not on the show, he's like your greatest friend. He's like so positive and everything is positive. I mean, you went back and hosted twice. I was just going to ask you to the nerve part. How, did you get past that by being a host on 2 shows? And you've done a lot of cameos as well recently, Michael Cohen.
Yeah.
Has it gotten a little better just because you're Ben Stiller now? And there's nothing to lose. No. You're like already on show business.
Honestly, not at all. Every time I feel that thing in the pit of my stomach,
Sickening.
Especially when we were doing the last round, when we were doing the Michael Cohen ones, because there were changes that were happening. And this must have happened to you all the time. The few times I was out there, I don't remember when I was on the show, the last minute changes, like literally like a minute, 30 seconds before, still playing around, like things like that.
And they're putting them on the cue cards while you're standing there, and they're like, "This will be a little different." And you're like,
and you realize that you're just on your own. Like it's like whatever, like you just have to do it. Nobody else is going to do it. You have to keep it in your head. So, it's fun when you can come on, I think, in an unannounced moment, right? When you show up in somebody, when somebody else is hosting and it's like all of a sudden, like you walk out. And I remember doing that once with De Niro, and that was probably the most fun because I didn't really have to do anything. There was no pressure. And it was like, oh, people are excited to see you because they didn't know you were going to be there.
Right.
Yeah. Big applause.
Yeah. And then you don't have to do much. But I think, the hosting, I think is really, there's nothing like that feeling when you go out right before you have to go out. And again, but that's the same feeling I always had. So I don't think it'll ever go away.
It's chilling going through that door. Ben Stiller.
Yeah.
And just the roar of like expectations really high.
Yeah. And then it's like, then the show. All right.
I like when the host, Dana, when the host has to go, ladies and gentlemen, Red Hot Chili Peppers. They drag you all the way out there and they put you in a different outfit for that. I'm like, how about I just wear what I'm wearing? And
you've never heard of them, well, ladies and gentlemen, Bent Nerve.
It's always like Hot House Flowers.
It is interesting to watch when you go through the old shows, like what the bands were and like which ones are actually ones you remember.
Yeah, because they try to catch them right on the precipice of blowing up. And some of them blow down. they never quite catch. And you're like,
and now it's a game I play with myself watching the show now to see which bands I actually know better on the show. Because I'd say like 80% of the time I don't know the bands.
Do not.
That's how out of it.
I think it's a typo. I go, there's no way that's a band on the show. I have never heard of them.
When you listen to music, Ben, like now, today, what do you listen to? Do you listen to it in your car? Because that's where I listen to music.
Yes, I listen to music in my car. I live in the city, and I also live north of the city in New York, so I kind of go back and forth. And I like listening to music, but I'm so like, as I get older, like I can start going like 80s, 70s.
Yeah, XM radio.
90s. I go to the 90s, and then
fade out.
I become the old guy who's like, what is this? What are they playing? What is this stuff? That's not music. This auto tune, all of it. I like hip hop, I guess, but from like even like the hip hop taste is much older. But I could listen to like Elton John all day. I'm that guy.
Right. I got lost somewhere around the Spin Doctors after that. I think I'm pre-Spin Doctors. But
isn't that interesting though? Because it really does sort of like settle in like what you really like to listen to. And like
you just don't know it after a while. You just stop knowing anything. They go,
you stop wanting to know it too.
Yeah. I go, right? I don't even try.
Isn't it a little
seek it out.
Like I was thinking about it, like if I'm listening to Elton John from 1973 right now, that's 50 years ago or whatever, right?
Pretty much.
Or almost.
Yeah.
Right. So that's like if my dad in 1973 was listening to 1920, some hit song from 1923 all the time.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. But I've had,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. The one thing that happened to me was the stereos back then sucked. So I have a Volvo. It's not a rich man's car per se, but it's and the stereo in it is so insane that maybe 3 months ago I put on, Tiny Dancer. Okay. So I blast it. It's 1,500 watts. I'm surrounded titanium speakers. It's like I'd never heard the song before. But then I go to the hip hop channels with my sons, and they introduce me to Cardi B, and I'm like, wow, I've never felt so old. WAP. Anyway,
this one's about Poontang,
and that'd be G-rated.
They're not
I'm open to it. I'm open to it, but then if I'm really being honest with myself, usually I don't get into new stuff.
So Ben, here's the question. How did you get so good at what you do, you think? Like you're a little kid, you like I want two things. I want one are the television shows. I know Star Trek. We got to interview William Shatner on this podcast, which was a thrill.
Oh, really?
A crazy, lucid, brilliant, analyzed everything, asked us questions. He was like a shrink. He's a scientist.
Amazing.
He described what a mirage is. We talked about UFOs. So I know that, and I was wondering what other films or TV shows that just blew your 10-year-old Ben's mind, and then you grow up to equal or surpass your heroes as a film director. I don't know, kind of surreal.
It's not, for me, I loved movies ever since I was a kid and was just making Super 8 movies as a kid and watching movies and television, in the 70s when it was, stuff was on TV or you actually went to the movies and go see Planet of the Apes or go see, Towering Inferno or Side Adventure. I'd saw Side Adventure 20 times.
Shelley Winters, Gene.
I was obsessed with it.
Gene Hackman. The Way Out is up there. He had a turtleneck on. He was just... It's out there.
Oh, it's incredible. Life is out there.
It's 1 inch less thick than 2 inches. Remember that? He said they had to go up there and they go, it's an inch of steel. They go,
up there is life. Down here is death.
That's
at one
good,
point he gives, yes, do that again.
Up there is life. Down here is death. I don't know.
I
That's all I
Gene
got.
Hackman. Shit.
And then he gives Shelley Winters a big wet kiss. Oh, I love you,
the
Mrs.
fuck?
Rabinowitz, or whatever.
Come here. And she swam under the water. She was the championship swimmer. And she,
God damn.
And then
that
she
was
died.
a great movie.
But that tidal wave, that's a great shot, right, Ben?
Yes.
The
When the-
way
when
the
and the
tidal wave.
binoculars?
The tidal wave.
It's incredible.
That's great direction. Is that Irwin?
Yeah, and Roddy
somebody?
McDowell is
Roddy.
the waiter who helps them, and they had to
Yes.
turn the Christmas. They had to take the Christmas
Oh,
tree
that
and
was
climb
so
up it.
smart.
I was just obsessed. It was everything was upside down.
Fucking
Yeah,
A.
fascinating.
Just
so
a
I
great-
could have watched that all day.
Okay.
I remember once my parents were going to see. They had tickets to see Lily Tomlin performing live on Broadway. She was doing one of her amazing one-woman shows. And they said, come on, we're going to go see Lily Tomlin. I was like, no, Poseidon Adventure's on for like the 12th time. I'm going to stay home and watch it.
Do you remember There's Got to Be a Morning After? That's
Yeah,
the
Carol
song.
Lindley singing.
Unreal
Yeah.
song, perfect
Oh
for
my
that.
God.
And it made
her
you
brother
cry.
dies. Her brother, the bass player, dies in the, in the
There's
tidal wave.
got to be
Oh
a
my God, I don't
morning
remember
after. This is my
Yeah.
Carol Lindley.
We
I don't
move
remember that.
closer to
Carol
the shore.
Lindley.
Was that
Exactly.
it? Did I remember that?
Yes, that's her.
Oh, dementia
yeah, she was
postponed.
amazing.
The only time it looked fake is when they look through the binoculars and they see the huge tidal wave, and then when it hits, they had a crew guy throw a cup of water, a Dixie cup of water, into the captain's face. He goes, "Oh!"
No, but
And
remember
then,
when the ballroom went upside down and everyone's hanging from the.
Are
from
you
the
shitting me? It was unreal. I was scared as a kid. I was riveted. I wasn't scared enough like I was during scary movies. It was sort of
Right.
accidentally scaring me, but I was riveted to it. Like, what if this happened? What would I do?
My sister and I snuck out when we were in LA with my parents, because we grew up in New York, but my parents would come out to LA to work and do like the Love Boat and things like that.
Yeah.
And we would stay at the Sunset Marquis Hotel with them. And like my sister and I snuck out once to see The Exorcist at the Man's
I'm out.
Chinese or Grauman's Chinese Theater. And it scared the shit out of us. We just were so freaked out by it.
Oh, my-
But we didn't tell my parents that we'd gone to see it.
You
So
didn't-
they couldn't understand why we were so...
Why you were crying every
we
day,
couldn't
all day?
sleep, yeah.
Oh my God!
Were you?
Jane-
Yeah, go ahead. I want to hear your
Dana-
exorcist
well,
experience.
first of all,
We
I
all
never
have
saw
one.
it. I still
Oh.
can't see it. I used to. My brother told me about it, and I was so fucking scared that I would talk before I went to bed to make sure my voice wasn't like the way he said the voice was in the movie, because I was scared I'd be possessed. And then I won't. I shouldn't tell Dana. You don't have to listen to this, but I'll tell Ben because he's a better friend.
All right, I'll mute.
But Ben, I saw the movie Tommy at this huge theater in Arizona, the Cine Capri, when I was whatever age I was when it came out. It scared me that I got like a stomach ache and I had to leave when the acid queen, there was burning and it threw something to burn the guy's face and right at the beginning. And I go, what the fuck? That movie is not for kids. I thought it'd be a fun movie.
Yeah. Tina Turner, right?
Yeah, it was a
acid
psycho
queen, yeah.
movie. I saw it
Ken
later.
Russell, he was like he did Altered States too. Remember that movie with William Hurt?
Oh
where
yeah,
he's
and
taking hallucinogenics
Babylon.
and he,
Bob going,
and he's-
I'm on fucking fire. Remember when this?
yeah, and he turned and his feet turn into ape feet in the shower, and it's just
Yeah.
like he's having these crazy hallucinations. He was a really interesting filmmaker. Yeah, so I mean those movies were so good when we were that age that I was so into them that just I wanted to do that and make movies, and so that's I was always doing that. And that's honestly like part of the reason why I didn't stay at SNL and all that is because I wanted to keep exploring that and doing that, but I was also kind of like trying to be an actor too. And I think I just have always loved that more. And probably like the last 6 or 7 years, I haven't really acted in anything for a while, and it's been mainly directing. And I stopped acting and in the things I was directing, which I've really enjoyed a lot more, because I do feel like that gives you the opportunity to really focus on the, what you're doing. And it's hard when you're kind of, in
Oh
front
my
of the camera
God,
too.
doing both, like just how hard it is to either, and then you got to do both.
I mean,
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of
Yeah.
cool that your latest thing you've done is being received, so it's brilliant, and I'm obsessed by it. My sons in their
thanks,
20s
man.
are.
Severance.
The way it's shot, I don't know, the set design, the colors, the lights, the action, it's so
music.
so atmospheric, and it gives you this wash of feeling. It really takes you out. I mean, when you watch how'd that come
what's
about?
interesting?
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, it was written, it was a script that came to our production company about 5 years ago by a writer as a writing sample, Dan Erickson, this guy who had not had anything produced. And I read and I was like, oh, this reminds me of like The Office. It reminds me of Office Space. It reminds me of like Parallax View. It reminds me of,
Stepford Wives, Truman Show.
Yeah, yes. And it had all these different things going on in it. I was trying to think of that other movie. Oh, what was it? The Andromeda Strain. Do you remember that
or
one?
THX 1138.
THX 1138. Yeah.
The Andromeda Strain.
So I just thought it was like an interesting thing he was doing with the tone, which he was taking the office workplace comedy and then sort of like adding this other surreal layer to it, which is like, who are these people? What are they doing? Why are they doing it? But yet they're bantering like they work in an office, but they don't even know who they are. That's like a really interesting concept. So anyway, I just, it took a while to set it up. I knew Adam Scott was the guy to play it because I felt like Adam has sort of like mastered that tone.
Yeah, could we talk about him for 10 seconds? Adam Scott is, I saw him on Big Little Lies. You've seen him around for years, and then I've seen him on this. I go, holy shit, he's never made a false move. He's
amazing, and he has this like really interesting quality because like sometimes he'll look like Tom Cruise. He'll have this like thing, and then other times he'll be like sort of like this kind of regular like guy, like kind of very self-effacing, and then he'll be kind of like flat and nothing going on, but then all of a sudden you look in his eyes and there's some really deep thing happening. And he's also like, just as an actor, he just is so specific. And I call him an acting machine. And I mean that as a compliment.
Yeah. Whatever you want, you can do it.
Wait, you too, David. I feel like you're an acting machine.
Yes,
also.
Thank you.
And he has this ability to like just change things by a millimeter, but and still do what he did. But then like as a director, it's great to work with him. So the whole thing was really interesting to me, and trying to do something that I guess was an experiment. And then I thought, it's fun to be able to experiment with something. We did it all during the pandemic. It's been literally like 2.5 years working on it.
Wow.
Yeah. So we started before the pandemic, and then we were about to start shooting, and then the pandemic happened and we had to shut down. So it's been a long process, and we were in this, very oppressive, claustrophobic set for like 9 months shooting it. So it got a little bit, like it was the show kind of like folded in on itself.
And you got John Turturro and Christopher Walken. I mean, those are also just
It was weird because Turturro, I was talking to him about doing the part, and he suggested Chris Walken. He said, because we hadn't cast the role of his coworker, Bert, who, Chris plays. And John said, well, have you cast it? I'm like, no, I'm thinking about somebody. So he goes, what about Chris? And I'm like, yeah, that would be great, John. Okay, I'll reach out to you because I could call him. And he literally made it happen. He's like, Chris,
everyone loves Christopher Walken.
I know.
That's a great guy to have in anything.
He's got this amazing voice, amazing face, and you can't not look at him on a screen.
Yeah. I mean, and he's aware, he's such a sweet person. I actually worked with him in that first play that I ever did. The thing I did when I did Hustler of Money, the Takeoff on Colored Money. Yeah. He was in that production, and he worked with my dad a lot.
He's very sweet and sensitive. Guy, I remember, this is a non sequitur, standing next to Bonnie Raitt at a party, and it was Eric Roberts and Christopher Walken, and this is in the 90s, and Bonnie Raitt said, I feel like I'm having sex just looking at him. I don't know.
Well,
I wonder if he thinks, if he is aware of all these impressions, and if it throws him off acting because, that's the way he sounds, and now he's like, do I sound like a cartoon of myself?
Yeah, I think he's aware that people, he knows that people will adjust scripts when he's in it, that because he's in it, I think he's aware of it. But he honestly, I think, is not a guy who, he doesn't really, he's not, I don't want to like say too much because it protect his privacy, but like, he's not a guy who engages in social media and does it, you know what I mean? Like he really just lives his life. And he's a very genuine person. Like I think he loves acting. He's been acting since he was a small child. I mean, literally like 5 or 6 years old.
Yeah. I have a question for you. But this one is not Christopher Walken related, but it's still a good question.
Can't wait.
When in Severance, in the first episode, I picture we all get scripts. So you're reading it. I'm like, I wonder where it won Ben over. Because I think you only read the one, right? You only read the first episode.
Yep, that's right. That's right.
So I'm watching. It starts a little bleak. It's got some interesting, creepy music. I mean, I don't really know what I'm watching yet,
Yeah.
And so I'm watching. I'm like, this looks so different. And So I'm just getting hooked in on the fact, like, I don't know what's happening, that's kind of fun, but I'm picturing it on the page because you sort of, bring it more to life. And then those last couple minutes, I go, oh shit. And that's probably where I go, I bet Ben was like, oh fuck, this is great. Because it makes me go, I got to watch the next one now.
Right. Which I think is like the bottom line with TV shows. And I learned that on the last one I worked on, which is like you just want to get people to want to watch the next episode. You want to have a story that unfolds. But, when I read it, it didn't have all that. There was no music attached to it.
Right.
I was just like reading it. And it tonally, I think I might have taken it a slightly different place that I didn't even know it was going to go, because I really responded to that workplace comedy thing that was in there, the banter that was happening, when like just sort of like the back and forth between Adam and Zach Cherry in the beginning when they're at their workstations. That seems so familiar to me and funny, and like, oh, I've heard that. But then, like I said, it was that other layer to it. But I think the ending too, I just thought as a pilot, I thought, oh, well, this crazy little thing that happens at the end with one of the characters where you don't expect it. That really pulled me in. And but I don't know, I don't know if you're like this, but like when there's something you read as that just you have a gut feeling about, where you just go, okay, this is something that I really connect with. I don't even know why I connect with it, but it's just, it's just pulling on something that like it's resounding with something inside of me, which sometimes you don't have to explain too.
Also, it's unique. It's a unique read. So I'm sure you see, like I get similar comedies a lot, and you and Dana. And so if you see something out of that world, it's already a little easier to keep your attention because you're not reading this every day.
And is it kind of unintentionally zeitgeisty, about work from home and the Great Reset and people rethinking their lives? Because it rang true that sometimes people are in a corporate situation, they're not quite sure what they're doing, which is kind of funny in Severance. No one really knows what they're doing.
That's the funny.
That's one of the things I loved about it, is they have no idea what they're doing. They know what they're supposed to do. They don't know why they're doing it or what purpose it serves, and they know they're not really supposed to question that. Also, But this was all before everything that was happening.
The big reset.
He wrote the script like 6 years ago or something, so it was kind of ahead of it all.
It's I don't know. It feels like people are definitely rethinking that kind of corporate structure, and it seems like everyone in the world is really rich now because it's never been in our face as much, notwithstanding Ukraine right now, but just the idea of people monetizing fame or Instagram or what is it, David? Fans only. So it's
only fans, Dana. I'll give you my login code.
Only fans. Sorry, I had the words right, but it seems like a harder sell to get people in a cubicle for 50 years, with all this other input coming at them. But anyway,
they're also being told. Kids are being told, like I see on these places where they're like, "Why are you working for other people when you can make millions on your own?" It's like, I don't know if that's the best message. I mean, it's a good message, but everyone chasing their dreams at once might collapse everything. It's very hard to say keep one foot in reality but always try to strive to do something better in life. But it's hard because right now they're like, quit your job.
I also think that's changed in the way in show business too, and like what we talk about back when there was no YouTube or anything or Instagram to post funny stuff. I made my little short and was like taking it around. Now it's almost incumbent on an actor or a comedic performer to put their stuff out there and to make stuff so that that you have to do that really to get noticed. And then the other aspect of that is there's so much of it out there now. It's almost the opposite, where now, like, how do you get noticed within that sea of content, quote unquote? Yeah. And I think it has changed the way people sort of approach, like, what are you supposed to, what do you call success? And, are you supposed to be successful by 19 or 20? And, if you're putting your stuff out there.
It feels younger. And it feels younger when you're Kylie Jenner and you're like 19 and you have $1 billion. Everyone goes, wait, it's so much stress for kids. Like, I'm so far behind. I've got FOMO from Instagram. Everyone's prettier than me. Everyone's, it used to be, there's 2 girls at my school are pretty. And now I'm like, I'm competing against the world if you're a woman. It's like, I see every guy's life. Everyone's rich, it seems. Everyone's having a better time than me. It's funny that during the lockdown, it almost let you relax for a second if you're a kid to go, at least everyone's in the same spot for a second. Like, they're not on a yacht, they're not skiing, they're not, and I don't feel, because I think people feel badly over and over quietly about all that stuff, and it makes him nuts.
I feel that way.
Even you feel that way.
Yeah.
Because I looked up.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
What?
Your celebrity net worth. No, I'm kidding. No. But,
I know. Dana's about to make fun of me. I can tell.
I definitely feel that way. I got off Instagram because of that.
Yeah.
Like I'm still on Twitter, but I couldn't. I was feeling all those feelings way too much, and I was like, I'm too old to be getting into this.
Right.
It's not healthy. I should be really concentrating and spending my time, on much more positive things. And, so I just made that choice for myself. The thing is, when you do take yourself out of that, right now, everybody sort of communicates that way though, too.
Yeah.
Even there are good parts of it, being able to stay in touch with family and, and stay in touch with people that you don't see all the time. But I just decided that for me, that was too much. And I think, I don't see the good thing. I feel like Twitter also, I have conflicted feelings about Twitter too, because I like being able to get immediate news and information and things that are going on in the world. But then I'm also, again, way too aware, I think, sometimes of things that I shouldn't really be spending my time on,
Did you turn down any big commercials like in the 90s or the knots? Or did you do some? I mean, now that's totally changed and people talk about their brand and getting their product in the marketplace, which is great by me. But did you turn down commercials? I did a few naively.
I didn't. I've never gotten offered a lot of commercials, weirdly, but I did a Japanese beer commercial in the 90s.
A sigh or
nice.
I'm trying to even remember that. It was a crazy thing. I had to go umasugi dayo, and I was like on this like frozen wave or something.
That's it. And you got paid money.
I got paid money for that, and then not a lot of offers after that. Maybe that affected it, but I did. Yeah, I got offered one a couple of years ago. One of those Super Bowl ads, and somebody else did it, and Juicy. I saw it, and I just felt like it didn't feel right for me.
Someone else did it? I had that happen in a Super Bowl ad, and then someone else did it. I'll tell Dana later.
I'll do anything at this point. But I remember Paul Newman, and I don't know if he gave it to charity, but Paul Newman is like the greatest kind of celebrity in history, I think. I think he was riding a tricycle or something, like it was a motorcycle or something, but Paul Newman, and I think Meryl Streep did one, and then they didn't like it, and she got millions and they didn't even show it. But I do think the Super Bowl is unique. Everyone kind of goes, hey, it's a Super Bowl commercial.
Yeah. I mean, also now it's become such a thing where the commercials are such a huge deal, and, everybody watches. I watch them, and see like, okay, what's, who's going to do
Did they ever ask you to direct one?
I directed some commercials back in the day. I have been offered commercials to direct. I'm not great at directing commercials because I don't love that process. At the end of the day, it's a little bit like I have to care about this somehow.
Dan's like, move the Doritos closer to the Chihuahua, please.
Hold it up while you're talking, and you have to angle it.
The Chihuahua's chewing the bag.
It's an art form. I enjoy a funny commercial, but you have to really care about that stuff.
So, Ben, how are you as a celebrity? Like your emotional temperature, I just made that up.
How are you, Ben?
Is like kind of unassuming superstar. Obviously, you're not out there all the time. I mean, when was the first time you were like Mickey Rooney in The Twilight Zone, like, I'm too famous. I'm too famous.
What blew you up? What was the one that blew you up where you were like, oh shit, now it's getting...
there's a point where you hit critical mass. I don't know what year where it's like, you're really famous.
Yeah.
And that's
where my glasses broke and I couldn't read any of the books.
Oh, Burgess Meredith.
That's
Picture, if you will, a young Ben
Yeah.
Stiller with fame that he never wanted. No, go ahead.
I think it was a kind of a gradual, thing for me because I was around for a while from like my little stint in like late 80s to, then getting little parts in movies in the 90s.
Something About Mary was
the one that really was the first time I was ever in.
Yeah, that was huge. And Meet the Parents and then Zoolander. That was pretty quickly, boom. Go ahead.
Brett Favre.
Yep. Yeah. And that was like 1998 or something. And I had been doing it for on and off for 10 years and had, had directed Reality Bites and directed Cable Guy at that point. And so I was working in show business and happy. I was really happy. And then that movie, was a big hit. And I remember people going like, oh, I knew, like someone I knew who worked in my team who said, I knew it was always going to happen for you. I was like, I thought it had happened. I thought I was doing okay.
It was great. What are you talking about?
I really did.
Comeback. And you're like, I've heard people say comeback. I go, comeback.
How did you wear a hat and stuff when you went out, or sunglasses?
Yeah.
When you first got, David would Lovitz would be in a convertible, hi everybody. He had
Hello.
I mean, I was definitely going around LA. I had a period of time when I acted ridiculous, I'm sure. I bought a Jaguar.
Sweet. Do it.
That lasted for like 2 years.
Ben Stiller. No, I got it.
Tab.
A low key ride in LA.
Yeah.
I mean, it was definitely like, fun, but a little bit sort of intoxicating in that, it's that thing where like everybody, is recognizing, everybody's being nice to you. And there's just a lot of opportunity in all ways. And it's like, it's weird.
Yeah.
It's weird.
When there was a jizz scene, you might not remember, in Something About Mary.
No, I forgot. Which one was that?
Was there a discussion of the amount of jizz? Is it too offensive? Is it too far?
Yeah, there was.
Because I don't think people have seen too much jizz on screen.
The Farrelly brothers.
Or
right?
since.
Yeah. I had a discussion with Peter and Bobby Farrelly about that scene because, I took my work seriously. And I was questioning a lot in that movie, where I would like question all of like the logic moments in that movie with them. And then I realized halfway through the movie that, shooting the movie, that I just was wrong most of the time, because they were, because they're just going to do what they did. And they were so right, because they knew exactly what they were doing. But I was like, okay, I'm going to make sure this makes sense to me. So my question was, how am I not feeling the jizz on my earlobe? Right? Why am I not feeling this?
I have
right?
some
How can I
nerve endings.
How do you play that?
I literally said, can we somehow set up in the movie at some point in the past, I lost feeling in my earlobe.
Oh boy!
What did they say?
And they're like, Ben, don't worry about it. It's funny. It's funny. Just go with it. It's funny.
Fuck, yeah.
Nobody gives a fuck. I'm like, really? I think it's not going to be as funny if you think you're wondering why I don't feel it on my earlobe. So I lost that argument, and thankfully.
Yeah.
And
I guess you're smart to say, when I'm in someone else's thing, I've done that, where you go, this is their thing. I'm kind of along for the ride. I did sign up, and I can put in my 2 cents. But overall, they're going to win in editing. So I got to, at some point, just got to roll with it.
Yes. And you have to recognize that, and I think it took me, I remember we were there in Miami. It was so much fun shooting that movie too, because it was just like everybody was having a great time. And they cut together like the first 10 minutes of the movie, and Peter pulled me into his trailer and said, hey, check this out. I want to show you. And I saw the first 10 minutes and I was like, oh, this is like, it's so much fun. And it had such like, and I think I was like, I'm like kind of more of like a serious type of person, or, and they were just like happy fun. I'm like, okay, this is like a happy fun thing, which I have to get used to and, embrace. It's probably good for me. But I remember also after the movie, we shot the movie, weirdly, I keep saying weirdly, don't I?
It's a good word.
A couple of times.
You have a big life.
No, but I was living in the same apartment building as Cameron Diaz in LA, in Larchmont.
That is weirdly.
Time. Yeah. And I was coming downstairs, and she was going out with Matt Dillon at the time. And, so we'd all done the movie together. The movie hadn't come out, and he'd just seen a screening of the movie. And Matt was like, hey, man, did you see the movie? It's funny, man. It's funny. And he's like, dude, you jerked off in that movie. And
that's a good Matt Dillon.
Yeah, that is good.
And I was like, yeah, I know, I did it. I definitely did it. And he was like, he was saying it as a compliment, I think, but he was kind of like, you really did that. And at that time, we didn't know how the movie was going to do. So it felt a little bit out
scary.
there. Like, okay,
your balls are in a zipper, dude. It's great.
Yeah. It was like The Hangover in a movie that came out and just kind of changed everything for a while. But I'd like to talk before we go, whenever we go, about Tropic Thunder, because that hit me like a ton of bricks. And I've probably seen that 3 times. Mm-hmm. I mean, I just absolutely, I think,
Ben thought you were going to say 30.
You went full R word. You went full R word. That's why you went home empty-handed.
Right.
is like it, for comedy writing at the time. I know that you couldn't do it today, I suppose, but God, that was that brilliant, that movie. How did you fucking come up with that?
But I think in today's, environment now, of course, it just would never even get out of it would never get out of development. But that was an idea that I had since I had a little part in Empire of the Sun in 1987. I was playing one of the POWs in that movie,
which was hilarious.
Thank you. I tried to give it a little.
And Robert Downey Jr. was in blackface in that film too. I remember that.
I thought, that at that time in like mid 80s, all the actors my age were auditioning for every, war movie. It was all war movie. It was all Hamburger Hill, Platoon, we all had to go, and everybody was going on these fake boot camps where they go out with Dale Dye and, spend 2 weeks in the Philippines and get, dirty and get yelled at. And
well, could David, just for an insert, David, could you do your Michael J. Fox war thing? And then go back to
I can't do it. Hey, Sarge, you got to give me a minute on this here. Hey, she's just a farm girl, Sarge. Come on, Mallory. Hey.
What would, no, I have to ask you, what would, Burt Lancaster be like in Tropic Thunder?
I'm telling you, we got to get to that river. I got to cover mine. I'm not afraid of nobody. I did a movie with Burt Lancaster.
That's one of my favorite of your impressions. Is the Kirk Douglas Burt Lancaster interchange.
That thing.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah.
Would you like to come over to my house? I'd like to come over. 5:00. I'm on Cannon Drive. There's a code 5432.
That's the gate code?
No, we're gonna. Yes, we're gonna wrestle, right? We're gonna wrestle Greek Roman style because I like to wrestle. I do too. Two men having fun doesn't mean a thing. I made it a little more PG.
Yeah, no, that's good.
As you know,
did you ever see The Swimmer, by the way, with Burt Lancaster?
Oh yeah.
What a weird, crazy movie where he just swims in people's pools.
He just jumps fences.
He just literally he's in this like tighty whitey, speedo thing the whole time. He looks good, but it's like he's swimming in people's pools for 2 hours to get home and kind of going crazy. It's fascinating.
Dana's like, I love that movie so much I saw it once.
I saw Tropic Thunder. I'm going to up it to 5.
Change it.
I'm going to up it to 5 times.
Right, thank
you. Now, Ben, before you go, one last one. We're not talking enough about Reality Bites.
Yeah,
when Spade was in it.
Come on.
Dana, do you know this? Spade had a little part for one day.
You were in Reality Bites?
I was Havitude Wiener Dude,
Wiener Dude. Come on.
Ben plucked me out of obscurity, out of a rigorous casting, and I went in there. I don't know if I was on SNL or was I on it?
I feel like I'm trying to even remember how that happened.
I don't remember the year.
Yeah.
But Ben, the funniest part about this is first of all, I'm not great at acting, so I'm trying to memorize the script. I thought before I do the scene, I should know it because I do that with a lot of my parts. So I look at it and I go, I'm interviewing Winona for a job at the Wiener Hut or whatever it's called. And so I'm the manager. And then, so I have, the joke is like, I go, whatever it is, I interview her and then I go, I'm going to throw out some numbers. Remember I tell her she's going to be a cashier. So I go, what's 85 plus 22? And she's like, $1.20. I'm like, nope. Yeah. She's like, $1.40. I'm like, nope. She goes, $1.80. I go, it's not an auction. Right? And so I go, but listen. So anyway, I do this, and then Ben hits me with this fucking curveball. I picture we're sitting at a little interview table, like in the back of Burger King, and then I just go back and forth. And then he goes, "Okay, let's go now. Spade scene's up. Here you go. You're gonna walk this way. You're gonna hand the customer this. You grab a bag. You put this mop over here." I go, "What the fuck? I have to walk and talk and say the lines?" And you go, "Yeah." And I go, "Holy shit!" And inside my head, I'm like, "Whoop, whoop, whoop." This was never discussed. It's never happened in acting before. And so I go, "Why is he doing this to me?" And then Winona, all she has to do is trail behind me. That's way easier. And so I'm literally going in rehearsal going, if I hand him this, then I say this. That's how you remember it. Right. You go by blocking. So I go, pa, 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 pa. Somehow we got it. But I was scared. There was a lot of
business. You had a lot of business. And I think, I believe I did it as a oneer. I think it's like a one-shot
which
deal.
Is worse because you have to get everything right.
Yeah.
It's like you're traveling, you're following with a Steadicam or something.
Yes.
And you have to get it all right. And I'm like, But obviously that's the way to do it. Obviously it made it funnier. And then,
yeah, and it was
and
fun.
then I still love it. I love hearing people saw Reality Bites.
And I love that you're in it too. It always makes me happy.
I'm going to have to order that up on Amazon tonight and check out David's
And the last
scene.
thing I got to tell Ben is when I did this last movie, they go, Sandler sent me this movie and he goes, you're not like, it's the wrong Missy. He goes, it's not the typical thing you do, blah, blah. But then I read it and I go, oh, this is like what a Ben Stiller would do, because I always like what you do in these movies where there's this craziness around you. Like, Meet the Parents. You're not always doing that, but you're very good at it. And I go, I want to do one where it's sort of a, grounded guy that's overwhelmed. And so everything was happening around me. Swartzen was funny. Schneider was funny. Lauren Lapkus, who was great as the Missy character. And I was sort of trying to keep it together, but it's a hard thing to do, and you do it very well. And I was like going, if I can just kind of do that part, because it's an underrated thing to do in movies.
Yeah.
And it really keeps everything working if you have good reactions and do it. And then that movie was super fun, wound up being, but I just wish they could tell you ahead of time if the movie's going to be a hit. It would be so much easier to shoot. Like Something Got Mary, you'd have so much more fun if you go, this is a fucking hit movie.
You never know.
Here we go.
That's the old adage. You just, you really have no idea. But I think like when you're doing that, like that kind of thing, the great thing is I always felt like there's no pressure on me except to just to be in the scene and hopefully react honestly. But like, you have to not have the ego about like feeling like I always wanted more funny people around me, because I just felt like that would make the movie funnier.
It helps everything.
And I would
if
be
you
helped
understand
by being around funny people would make me funnier.
How happy?
in a hit.
How
It's
happy
working.
were you when you sat down to either rehearse or shoot the first scene on Meet the Parents, and you saw that De Niro was playing it full badass De Niro, which made it so funny the way he intimidated your character? It was just such a perfect comic chemistry.
He was amazing. And also, I think, he at that point, he hadn't done a bunch of comedies. He'd maybe done Analyze. I don't know if Analyze This was before or after that. I think. But he, and he was one of the producers of the movie too, but he totally got it from the beginning and, was just playing that. He knew that playing it straight. And also he knew with me that, he could just sense with me that I was nervous around him. And so he wouldn't, you know what I mean? Like he wouldn't make it.
So he worked off that.
Yeah, he enjoyed doing that. And, it was really like, that was a real thing. Like I just remember like we'd be in the car together doing these scenes. And then like, back then we were doing scenes where you actually were in the car. It wasn't like a green screen. And we'd have to then take the car around to start the scene again. And then we'd have to just sit together in the car in between when we did the scene and when we restarted. Right. So there'd be like 5 minutes of us just sitting uncomfortably, which
staring.
Literally just, you could have just kept the camera rolling. It was the same as the movie. It just was the movie.
What did he say? I have nipples. Do you want to milk me? Or so it's just like coming out of De Niro's mouth.
You want to milk my nipples?
You want to milk my nipple?
Yeah, great.
That's good.
All right, well, let's let Ben go. He's been great.
You guys,
Ben was
I
very
love you
nice.
guys.
Thank
You're
you, buddy.
so funny. You're the funniest people.
Great
Enjoy
to catch
listening
up
to
with
you.
you, Ben.
Yeah. I'm glad you're doing this.
For kids who want to
Check
live
out
stream Ben
Severance.
Stiller, for young people, Dodgeball, Starsky and Hutch, Madagascar, Something About
my
Mary.
God.
More than I
Jesus.
could mention.
Jesus.
It's a resume. I got exhausted reading your Wikipedia
What's
page.
Severance on? Is Severance Apple TV?
Severance is Apple TV Plus. It's Apple
right.
TV Plus. That's the part you have to pay for. Yeah. And it's
that's all right.
It streams every Friday. So
All right. Pleasure,
Thanks,
Ben.
guys.
Thanks.
Great talking
All right,
to you.
Appreciate
thanks,
it.
Ben.
All right.
Thank you.
Talk
See
soon.
you, pal.
All right.
Hey, what's up, flies? What's up, fleas? What's up, people that listen? We want to hear from you and your dumb questions.
Questions, ask us anything. Anything you want.
You can email us at flyonthewall@cadence13.com. We have one from Andy Lipsy.
All right.
Andy Lipsy says, hi, guys. What was the first concert you ever saw live, and who do you want to see that you haven't been able to? I'll start with this. I saw Heart. 16, I saw Heart, the band. They fucking rocked it. And my brother snuck in some slow gin. You ever know what that is? It's so gross. It's like
Boone's Farm.
It's like a muddy
cherry wine.
It's like a red, I don't know what it is, but it had booze in it. I didn't care. I couldn't be picky. Chugged, barfed. And I did like Heart. And I still love them. And then did a joke about them on SNL and got in trouble. And then I would love to see Led Zeppelin live. Dana?
Led Zeppelin is the greatest. When I was 14, I was running cross country freshman in high school the summer I ran a 6-mile time trial at 5:20 a mile. So I was feeling really good. I have 3 older brothers. So I was 14, 16, 18, and 20. They took me to Fillmore West.
Ooh.
10 years after, Cactus and Toe Fat. So I'm there. Girls are bikini dancing. There's a show. Bill Graham actually came out and said, stay away from the brown acid. He actually did.
That's the old
and they
joke.
were passing joints along. I didn't have any, but all that experience was unforgettable. Then went outside, and this dude, kind of like a wino, was really high, and he looked up at the marquee. He was really buzzed, and he goes, 10 years after, Cactus and Toe Fat. What the fuck?
That's what I said when you
Toe
just said
Fat was the name of a rock band.
Toe Fat.
My brother, in 1966, he came home from Fillmore West. He was like in 8th grade. He says, I've just seen the best guitar player in the world. I said, what's his name? He woke me up. I was in like 6th grade.
Jewel.
He goes, Jimi Hendrix?
For real,
It was Hendrix. It was Hendrix. I said, yeah, weird name, probably won't go anywhere. He goes, why do you say that? Just a thought. But then we saw Jeff Beck a lot, me and my friends. With Jeff Beck, I saw Fleetwood Mac.
Jesus.
A lot of Neil Young.
And who would you see now if you could pick?
Snoop Dogg.
Okay.
Because my sons played that for me, and that was the first time I really appreciated hip hop. Snoop. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot.
Thank you, Andy.
When it's feeling kind of hot. Drop it like it's hot. You a bad boy, David Spade. Fly on the Wall has been a presentation of Cadence 13.
Please listen, then rate, review, and follow all episodes.
Executive produced by Dana Carvey and David Spade, Chris Corcoran of Cadence 13, and Charlie Finan of Brillstein Entertainment. Production and engineering led by Greg Holtzman, Richard Cook, Serena Regan, and Chris Basil of Cadence 13. Hey, David, what's the date?
March 16th.
No, it's not. We're pre-recording this.
Oh. I thought that's what we're supposed
We
to
had
say.
a choice to lie, but I said, no, our podcast doesn't lie.
Did you like that I immediately lied?
Well, look, I'm here to bust you on it.
Yeah.
That's why we're partners.
That's true.
Yeah, you lie like a cool breeze.
You lie like a rug.
You lie like a lie.
We got Bert Kreischer.
Anyway,
on
Bert Kreischer has a special out today.
Razzle Dazzle. Is that it? That's a good name.
Bert Kreischer
You know,
has a special Razzle Dazzle.
by the way, Dana, I got a lot of good feedback from the Brendan Fraser show.
Oh, okay. What
And
was
this
it?
producer even said, he was in The Whale. You should do a movie about your dick called The Minnow. And I go, well, I don't know. I got the podcast. I got so much going on right now.
Why would the producer have an opinion about the
don't know.
size of your appendage? Is it guesswork based on thumb size?
He
or
says,
is
don't get mad. I'm just
the
brainstorming. I go, all right, well, listen, there's no
Yeah,
bad
he told
ideas.
me the same thing. He told me I should have a special called Big Cock. I go, I don't work blue, but I
Big
said that's
cock
kind of,
and little pubes.
It's Big Cock on Netflix. Yeah,
This is good for the Bert intro because this is
Rhino.
We got kind of raunchy with Bert.
Why do they say it's a compliment to guys hung like a rhino? Have you ever seen rhino genitalia?
No, they're not
I don't
known
care
for big
what
ones.
the size is.
Well, you can't compete with a horn in the front. They say rhinos' wieners are about
That's
a
why they're
third of the
going
horn.
extinct.
Yeah.
No one wants to fuck them, even female
Nobody.
rhinos.
No
So
animals.
We've finally gone R, and Greg
We went pretty
and
R.
Evan are the happiest I've seen. Our crew here right now.
He talks about going on a date in quotes with Will Smith. Remember that?
Yes, he has well, first of all, he's a great storyteller.
Yeah.
He's sober when he does our podcast, so his energy is off the charts. He's like kind of human Xanax. I mean, he is just a cheerful, fun human. Well, doesn't he kind of calm you down because he's so effusive?
Yeah.
And he tells this great story about interacting with Will Smith. Hysterical.
He's very huggable. I think I hugged him a few times during it. He came here to do it.
He didn't mind it, but when you snuck up from behind him and really...
You know what I did? I hid in his chest hair, and then no one said anything. And then when he started talking, I go, surprise!
So you're that small, you can hide in chest hair.
Yeah. And then I saw someone's pubes. I go, I don't want to give it away. He also talks
That's
about
the movie you should make. It's just called Tiny Man, not Ant-Man. But, and they just,
Ant-Man.
And he and I bond over our mutual fear of flying and our need to have an adult beverage while we're flying.
Yeah.
So we actually, he levitated out of his seat when he found out that some tactics I do on a morning flight to get a cocktail because I don't like flying. David loves it.
I hate flying. I flew this week, and I was stuck in coach because of
COVID.
Some lemony snickety unfortunate events. So I'm in the back, and they have like literally a 1 foot curtain like this, so I can't see the people in first class. So I'd go like this. And they go, "Don't look at the rich people, sir." And then someone was watching King Kong on their thing, and I was trying to watch between the cracks, and I see Jack Black, and then they block it with their arm. I'm like, fuck, man, come on, let me watch this.
Because you didn't have movies in coach?
I didn't have anything.
We're going to get people sending you devices to watch. I'm going to send you a mini iPad.
No, I think they got confused because when I got to the gate, I go, "Put me in, coach." And then they go, "Okay." And I go, "No, I didn't mean put me in, coach."
They actually didn't even have a keyboard. They just went like this.
Okay, so what else?
The stuff that happens to you on the road, that's your next book.
My throat is a little trash, but
David has not intentionally got a sultry voice. It's from performing, right?
I apologize for the sexiness, yeah. But it's good, you know? I feel like I'm still out there trying.
Hey, kid, I'm going to talk like Harrison Ford the rest of the time we do ads. What's the problem, kid?
Oh, God, I had a joke with my voice. I can't even think about it. Anyway, that's it. All right, let's just keep going. Enough about us. Oh, yeah, the doctor said, try not to interrupt people for a week. And I said, oh, no, come on.
Oh, we practice cross-talking.
Don't say that.
Twice a week, it's like training. We get on the phone and go, okay, I'll talk, you talk. And we talk over each other.
That was it.
Just to keep in shape, because heaven forbid we let the other guy talk. You want me to practice?
Fuck these guests, man.
3,
They talk.
2,
They got enough.
1. Yeah, I don't know why everyone's trying to.
He's going to talk a lot.
He's going to talk
get
a lot.
Excited.
I love Bert.
Bye.
Bye.
So I was going to do, I got an offer to write a self-help book. Here's my pitch, okay? I think you guys will understand this.
Oh, definitely. We're all over this. I was listening to your podcast. I have more fear of flying and more neurosis around flying and having beer than you do, if that's possible. But we should fly together. So.
I would like to go tit for tat on that because my flying has got... I remember one time, so I'm ritualistic when I fly. Before I fly in the shower, I have to wash every part of my body, and then I have to squat down like a catcher and say prayers. And I do certain rituals in my prayers. I circle every family member in my family 3 times in case I die. I just make sure they're wrapped in love. And then I do I'm going to sound like a fucking lunatic. My name is Bert Kreischer, guys. I'm actually a comedian.
No, Bert. When I would occasionally get private jets provided for me, I would have the beer here. And going down the runway.
Oh, and we definitely have to fly together.
Yeah. When we took off, that made the beer go, and that's as we took off.
You would drink every time. Don't worry, we cut all the comedy out of this at the end.
This is more of a self-help one with Bert.
So I've done so in my rituals, I get through my rituals, and then one of the rituals was I had to respect the fear. Because if I didn't respect the fear, like these other idiots who were just sitting there thinking, oh, I'm just going to work. Mm-hmm. Those are the fuckers that die because they don't respect the fragility of life. Mm-hmm. I'm respecting it by drinking my fucking face off and going, this is how we'll get there. Right. I mean, my flying got so bad that like, now I've flown this month sober, and in a weird way, I can watch the anxiety creep in. It's almost like a whisper, like an asshole friend. Yeah.
Hey, Bert, I just want to remind you, you're going to die in a couple minutes.
It happens in an instant.
Yeah.
You won't even know.
You won't even care that you're flying.
Yeah.
You know, when planes make that noise where it goes, ee, like when you take off, I think they all do it. But in my head, I always go, this is what you hear in the movies when you're like going down. And I go, no one's even looking that this is a weird noise.
Whoa. Well, wait a minute.
There's always a point when I think I'll die
David,
on a flight.
There's a new flight. This is a commercial flight, but there's the 787 10X. Like I know every plane.
I do too. By the way, I know more about planes than pilots. That's so funny. I know everything.
You're like my brother from another mother.
I know the seats on every plane. I know where you don't want to sit and where you do want to sit.
Yeah.
So there's a keep going.
The 787 engines are so quiet. It flies different than any other plane, and you can fly it from LA to Newark.
Yeah.
But you're doing all the short hops. But when I flew back, I took off completely. I just do my breathing, nothing in me, because it's too embarrassing. 8:30 flight. Excuse me.
It's
could I have a
embarrassing if you're
Heineken?
Dana Carvey and you're putting back cocktails when you're Bert Kreischer. Respect. Let me tell you something. Double Jack on the rocks, lots of rocks.
I
That's
only
my
drink
take-off
beer,
drink.
but my wife only wants coffee, so she'll get coffee and a Heineken.
How the fuck did we marry these dead inside human beings who can have a cup of coffee and not respect the fragility of life?
For me, she orders a Heineken for herself.
Oh, hold on. Me, you, and Ric Flair. Me, you, and Ric Flair. Hold on. I swear to God, I'm
and
sitting
then
next to
I drink mine and hers, and then I put both empty bottles on her tray and go, I can't stop her. She's lush.
Dana, I've never connected more with a human being other than my wife than you right now. Ric Flair and I are on a flight.
Okay.
I'm next to my wife. He's next to his wife.
Yes.
The lady comes back. She goes, "Can I get you guys something to drink?"
What time is it?
7 in the morning.
Perfect.
7 out of Charlotte, I think. And,
Charlotte's a motherfucker.
It's a beast. Can I get you a cocktail? And she goes to Rick, and Rick says, double Bloody Mary for me and a double Bloody Mary for her. And he goes, interesting. So he comes over to me. Can I get you a drink? And I said, I'm going to take a double Jack on the Rocks. Do you want a double Jack on the Rocks? And she's like, my wife nods.
Right.
So we both get our Jack in the Rocks. What I do is I drink hers first because she's the alcoholic in this.
Yes.
And as I do it, I look over. Ric Flair's already murdered his wife's drink, and I go, "I'm drinking like Ric Flair. Like we all have the same cheat code when we get on a plane." I used to fly with my producer for Travel Channel and pretend she was my wife so that I could make her drink and I could have her drink.
Oh yeah. Oh, there's a lot of tricks of the trade. I used to have the early days. I'd have a bucket of 10 beers between my Jesus. I've way slowed down. I've gotten better. I don't fly like you do. Like I only fly 5 times a year, so I don't go on.
Yeah,
tour
but you do
much.
tour. You try to do a bus.
I live in a bus. But I have to fly in and out, and I fly to do 2 Bears, 1 Cave. I fly. So my month will go. I'll have 1 week off. Right now, it's been
1 bear, 4 caves. Is that how it is? It just mixes up a little bit.
There's bears and caves of all kinds.
I'll go on the road. I'll do 1 week on the road. Then I'll do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday in Austin to do 2 Bears. Then go back straight out on the road. And then I'll come home for a week. Right now I'm going to my daughter's parents' weekend for my week off. And then I'll go back on a road. Yeah, no shit. And then I go back sober. I can't even go to her college fucking party.
I give you a lot of respect, man, for flying sober on these little hopper planes in lightning. And we're going to ask everyone to take a seat. For a while, we're going to have some, So have you been traumatized, truly terrified on a plane because of an engine failure and stuff like that?
I've had a number of incidents with horrific. One time. This is one of those clarity moments. I was sitting next to one of my cameramen. We were flying from Canada or from Alaska down to L.A. and we had horrible turbulence out over Vancouver Island. Yeah, and he was like, "What are you freaking out over?" And I said, I feel like I haven't lived my life. I haven't fulfilled what I want to accomplish in my life. And he looks at me and he goes, "Do you realize how insulting that is?" I said, "What?" And he goes, "I've been filming you live your life." He goes, "I've done nothing then." And I went, "Oh, you should be drinking now."
That's a funny twist. Well, I've seen flight attendants burst into tears, engines conked out, emergency landings. Without the seatbelt, I'm not in the seat. Things flying around. So then I think, aren't we kind of wired for neuroses in a way? If you're a sensitive instrument, you're a comedian, you're trying to notice everything, then I just find the whole premise. I've flown with you into Texas once. It's pretty wild.
Well, I'm like powder.
You get super calm.
Yeah, I feel a lot of things.
Water and
I have used powder as an example, as a joke so often. and not a lot. The director that got caught molesting boys.
No.
Maybe allegedly. I don't know.
Maybe
someone Google that.
That's a
bummer.
No,
but I've used that because I've used Powder so much.
Powder's
one of the best movies ever.
Oh, okay.
It's a real tearjerker. It's about a kid that gets picked on. He's got all these powers and he's very sensitive. And I don't have the powers. I'm just a sensitive pussy guy.
I thought you meant you guys are like powder. You're like sand.
That might be better.
He's hairless. He's a hairless albino.
I'm a combo between Lucas and Powder. Because I went out for football when I weighed 114 and I got fucking cremated.
Why would you go out for 114? I love playing
trying to
football.
fit in.
When tackle football came in and I was 5'1", 93, I went to track. I said no.
Yeah, my uncle told me to go in gymnastics. I go, why don't I just blow dudes? He's like, it's up to you. But
you could do that Iron Cross.
I did the horse. I did.
You did the pommel horse?
Oh yeah, Florax. I did.
No wonder you're so jacked.
Parallel bars. I was ripped.
You're like wiry muscle.
It's good if you want to go into friend jail for the rest of your life with all the. They go, there's a lot of chicks in there, and I go, yeah, but I'm their friend. I mean, they go, you wouldn't be straight if you were.
Could you get girls in high school?
No, it was no fame.
Horse?
No, it was all.
I love that you said no fame.
Well, of course, it's fucking. Exponentially.
Well, like Mickey Rooney told me, money, i.e., fame, money makes you handsomer.
That's true.
It.
I went from nerdy and geeky to interesting. They go, I like the underdog. I go, oh, that wasn't really the idea.
What about you?
I wonder sometimes what kind of pussy I could get now.
You would do great.
Yeah, because I'm landlocked to this fucking
wife.
Menopausal fucking
Landlocked.
Well, you have a great wife already because she'll hear this and go, "Hi, Bert."
She'll laugh she's just, I don't know. I love her, and so like I have a bit in my new special about it, but I was never a sex dude. I was more a party dude. Like I was never. I think I'm very sensitive, and so if I just wanted to fall in love. I remember I was telling someone I'd go to bars in college, and everyone was like, "I hope I get laid," and I was like, "I hope I meet someone who understands me."
Yeah.
Like I was so different.
Just put up with me.
Yeah, or someone that wants to just go get pizza and not go to bars anymore and just hang out.
How old were you when women who wouldn't have looked at you in high school or college were kind of overtly nervous talking to you?
Oh, 49.
So, and you're 48?
I'm 49 now.
Well, we have to remind the audience, this is Bert Kreischer.
Yeah.
He is a big-time comedian, podcaster, all around. Very interesting past. We were doing some extra digging. I know you a little bit, but we were doing some digging. And Dana, of course, doesn't know.
No, I have a photographic memory. Florida State University, which it have the Gator Bowl.
No, that's
Okay.
Florida.
Because I played that once.
Yeah, I think I might have been there.
Well, I'd never seen anything.
No, so it was called Gator Growl.
Yes, and
Gator
Tim,
Growl,
when the
I've heard of
football players came out, because they all had, it was like Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Yeah.
They were all stunning. Tim Tebow, right? And when they came, I was behind them. It was beyond the Beatles and Elvis. They went
in those games
that
in
was
college.
that was the
It was at
team.
night. Just
A lot of those dudes went to prison.
Yeah.
I think Tim Tebow was a good guy, but I think Aaron Hernandez was on that team. I think the two brothers were on that team.
because of Harvey Weinstein kind of stuff?
I think so.
Okay.
Well,
Code for whatever.
they were at training camp. They didn't know it was for prison. In Tampa, was your first... Oh, here's my first thing. When you were from Tampa, was your first joke, I'm a tampon from Tampa?
Full-blooded
Was that
tampon.
Full-blooded tampon. Even better. You fucking peppered it up. Well, because he was... I don't know where I'm going with this.
Well, people don't know this, which is kind of interesting. If I'll just do it, then you became like the college was named the Party College of the Year.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then somehow...
This
and
is
that's
for our dumb
how did you
audience.
become the Party College Guy of the Year? Like, why? How did they find you? And then that you blew up from that.
Well, I just answered a rough question about like what was the if it wasn't for this, why I would have never gotten a comedy. And it was this in 1997. Rolling Stone magazine wrote an article about me, calling me the #1 party animal in the country
at the number one school.
At the #1 school. So what meant to happen was they were meaning to write an article about Florida State.
Yeah.
And when they got there, they needed a chaperone, someone to take them around. They found me. They just called up a bunch of people. Everyone was like, "You should hang out with this guy, Bert. He's been here 7 years. He knows everyone." So they come. They party.
Lifer.
Yeah, I was. I just didn't know what I wanted to do, and I was like, I don't need to leave.
Yeah.
I can just get another minor. I just keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I took this guy around. He goes back, writes the article. Jan Warner's like, it's too broad of a subject. Let's just make it about this kid. So then I have no idea this is going to happen. They end up writing the article about me. I remember getting it, and Beck was on the cover, and I remember thinking it was me for a second.
Yeah,
and I was like, I look
gross.
great. And then I opened it, and it's like a big centerfold of me in a fountain. And the opening line was like, it's taken Bert Kreischer 6.5 years to become the man he is today, the #1 partier at the #1 party school in the nation. And it changed my
Your life.
Overnight. This is before fame was like a thing.
Yeah.
Like where everyone could get it. All of a sudden, I'm
in
doing
college.
That's a
there's
good
no way
point.
To get
Everyone
famous.
is famous now.
Yeah, there's no way under 25 to be famous back then.
Oh, in 1997, the Real World and Road Rules had just started happening like that within that era. That was the only way you get famous.
Yeah.
Famous.
Yeah.
This comes out. I do morning call-ins all morning long. They just get my number, call my room, my house. Oprah's people reached out, wanted to have me and my parents on. I did just all these huge
The
things.
subject was what went wrong.
Yeah, I think so. Well, I remember
Bert Kreischer, people.
I was an open book. I was like this kid who partied, and if you want to talk to me, I would be like, off the record, and they're like, yeah, sure, off the record, kid.
No.
And so I spilled everything, and then this radio station gave me an opportunity to do stand up. They were setting me up to fail. Now you guys would both know this. They had 4 comics that were road dogs go do 20 minutes before me each, and then I closed the show, never having done stand up.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
that's a setup.
Yeah, it was a setup, but I killed. I had murdered. I murdered just stream of conscious. Probably
Usually that was literally the first time.
the literal
Great.
first time I
Because
got on
usually
stage.
the first time is good, especially if they said
In a weird
this
way.
is his first time doing stand up. Did they say that?
I think it was implied. I think
Yeah.
everyone knew because a lot of the people. I was also pretty famous at the school, so like everyone that showed up knew who
that
I was.
sort of was a
But
trick.
still,
They
Yeah, a
that's
little
see
bit.
coming,
It's like
yeah.
it's like Eddie Murphy getting on stage and everyone's like, "Oh shit!" And no, that's not
Well,
the same. But I got offered
Bert,
a morning
yes,
show.
That's amazing.
I got offered their morning show from that thing.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
to be like Zuko.
I was gonna be third mic. I was gonna be third mic for like a couple months, and then I'd take over the show.
You ever do a?
Wow.
I'm gonna interrupt you. Do you ever do a phoner for a radio station? They go, hold please. All right, when we come back, you're gonna be on with Zippy, Cuckoo, a bird, a parakeet, a robot, and Jim. He's gonna be in the helicopter. All right, you're on. And I go, what's this? It's the zoo crew. Go,
Oh,
go.
wow.
And I'm like, who am I talking to?
They've
Wait.
had caffeine for 3 hours.
Yeah, and they're like,
it's Tommy and the Bull. It's
Yeah.
usually a guy and an animal.
And
Yeah.
Shaniqua. They were always
then a
they
woman,
were
a
always
third.
horrifically under, like just subtly racist as shit, but they didn't know it because no one was calling them on it yet.
yeah.
There was
yeah.
there was one in Florida called the Q Morning Zoo, and they used to do Tales from
always a
Taniqua,
zoo.
and it was just a black woman ordering McDonald's, and it was like a 2-minute bit, and it was just a white guy doing what he thought
Right.
a black
Oh,
woman
yeah.
sounded like.
Oh, a white guy doing it?
Oh yeah, it was
Oh,
a black woman.
yeah, boy.
Do you think they were going to go out and
Well, we had Flip Wilson. He did Geraldine. That was what we used to do in high school.
Geraldine?
Flip Wilson.
he would do a character talk like this. That was his character.
And you're
So it was- you're
basically doing
Flip-
Geraldine. Yeah.
Yeah, Geraldine.
Now,
So that
Bert,
sounds funny. but
Let's ask
anyway.
Bert about. Oh, because we have to have some sort of SNL tie-ins because a lot of comedians, are brought up on SNL. You were just talking. You were just mentioning. You might do something with some. I don't know if you want to talk about that, but you were talking about movies and
What's the secret?
how I thought it was interesting. You just said that Tommy Boy and Blues Brothers were similar in the way that you thought Aykroyd was the Farley of that.
Yeah, well, so okay, I mean, it's no lie. Like I'm you guys, your people, the people that you guys all know, the SNL and all the actors, all you guys kind of, I'm sure you know this, but you're responsible for not just my sense of humor, but my personality. Like, when you're a kid, you watch certain people and you go, I'm that guy in our friend group,
Or you don't even know it. You just try to act like emulate like guys I would see Caddyshack. And you just that's your whole life.
I have now been every character in Caddyshack in my entire life. I've been Ty Webb. I've been Bill Murray. I think I'm Rodney Dangerfield now.
Yeah.
Like I don't like, and so that all those people, like I am a Belushi Farley guy. That's like, I mean, I read fucking Wired and was like, the first time I took a physical for a TV show, I did what Belushi did. Where fucking smoke, drink, thing. And then the lady's like, hey, just so you know, you're not going to be cleared to do this TV show.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, what? She was like, let's rip
not
this
as
one
cool.
up and change our answers. I was like,
Yeah.
I seldomly drink. So, but we were talking, we were talking with this guy, Etan Cohen. Tom and I are doing a project. And we were talking about great buddy comedies. And both of you have been in the best buddy comedy movies ever. Other than Aykroyd, who wrote whoever he starred with, was always the other,
Yeah.
But we were talking about Tommy Boy, and we were saying that immediately you think Belushi is Farley and you are Aykroyd. But when you look at Blues Brothers, technically Aykroyd is Farley and Belushi is you. Because he's more straight-laced.
Yeah.
He's the kind of straight man in the entire thing. And And Aykroyd's the one who's putting super glue on the pedal, and I mean he's doing all the tricks. He's the one driving crazy.
The crazy one.
It's so fascinating, especially when you start going back. Like when you look and realize half of Bill Murray's movies are movies that were supposed to go to Belushi. Like Ghostbusters was supposed to be Belushi,
Right?
And then you realize, because Belushi's real strength wasn't. I know it sounds crazy that we all see Farley as Belushi, but that wasn't Belushi. It really wasn't. He was in Continental Divide. He was everything he did was a little more straight-laced. The only thing he did was Animal House, but he didn't even fucking speak.
Yeah,
but that was kind of the physical comedy. Put the marshmallows
and
in
it was
his
such a
mouth or
crazy
something.
movie around him, and he's the star of it. He looks like, and when he does popping the zit and toga.
It's all physical comedy. Yeah, he didn't
But
speak.
he does do his eyebrows, he does facials, and I think he wanted to do more straight stuff, and so did Farley. So when Belushi does Continental Divide, which not everyone saw, but I thought was interesting with Aykroyd, I think people were a little disappointed because they weren't as crazy as what you thought it would be.
Yeah, or Neighbors.
Oh yeah, Neighbors.
Neighbors was where they flipped the roles.
Yeah.
At the last minute, he goes, you know what? I'm going to play Aykroyd's part. You play my part. And
I'm thinking of Neighbors.
yeah, Neighbors. Yeah.
When he goes, stop switching those cuff charge. He has a shotgun, or it's going to be Pump City. Yeah.
But I go back, and this is maybe you guys will know more about this, but what about Some Like It Hot, right?
Okay.
Who was that? That was
Jack Lemmon and Tony Curtis.
Tony Curtis.
And Marilyn Monroe. 1962, 1-2.
So is the dynamic when you play two people, when you look at Wayne's World, and I hate to use you and Farley as the example, but that's like probably the clearest to everyone that like you're Farley, Mike's Spade, right?
That's an interesting question. I think that Mike and I, which it ended up working out so nice, that we just have different styles, but they melded. So we were both being funny in a different way. Like I loved when Errol
wasn't extremely opposite. Me and Farley, I think, were more supposed to be opposite. I think he and Mike
you were
just-
reacting to his shenanigans.
But Mike, a lot of times, will look to the camera and point to you like this guy.
Right.
Like someone's got to be
the voice of reason or something.
Off, and someone's got to be
well,
on.
that's true. Mike would, if there was
off and on,
some storyline he had to deliver, he would do that. I was just sort of outside of everything in my own little world. Me, meaning Garth.
Yeah.
Just sort of. But I loved it. I mean, I love the part where like Tom Hanks said to me once, isn't it great to be the guy next to the guy? Because it is Wayne's World, but I got to just kind of float around in it.
Oh, it's so
But
funny.
you get to score,
I see that as different.
The focus is on you.
In what way?
I don't know.
Better to be the guy?
I gravitate towards your character. I identify with your character in that because I'm always a little bizarre. Like I'm always the off guy.
Yeah.
As opposed to the guy who knows what's going on, the guy that can drive the story forward, the guy that goes, hey, we got to go sell these fucking brake pads or we're all going to, and the one guy that goes, I don't know how to sell a brake pad.
Yeah.
You know, like, so it's, I find it fascinating because the buddy comedy is like such it's when done right. And you guys have both are maybe the two examples of dudes who have defined the genre. When done right,
Jeez, that's cool.
But you know that, right?
They're not around as much as they used to be. Even like 48 Hours.
Comedies aren't around the way they used to be.
R-rated comedies.
Isn't funny, but for some reason it's funny, right? Like, I mean, it's not
such a cool movie.
It's such a cool fucking movie.
Because Walter Hill made badass movies. So it has a coolness
Warriors
to it.
too?
And Nick Nolte is straight. And then they let Eddie kind of, when he went into the bar and did that, at the time, it was kind of incendiary, deconstructing all the cowboys and stuff.
Dude.
Yeah.
I mean, what a cool role for Eddie Murphy to play. Trading Places.
Trading Places.
Trading Places. I'm thinking
Eddie
of the
Murphy
fucking
makes
Places was great.
Eddie Murphy makes
Another
no
one.
sense to me because at 19, to be who he was, take over SNL, kick ass in the movies at such a young age. But it's kind of common.
keep your head on.
Woody Allen was supporting his parents at 16, writing jokes. Bob Dylan was really young. John Lennon, Paul McCartney. Sometimes people just have it at like 20, 21, and they're superstars.
I did not.
And Eddie was one of those.
I really did not. Like, I was the...
Me neither. I was a waiter till 24, but I was a damn good one.
I was the 35-year-old going into people that owned houses going, how do you do this? Like,
It's terrifying to own a house.
I didn't own a house until I was like 39. Like I was really late to the game. Like I didn't get any success until I like worked and stuff, but I wasn't. I look at like when I look back and I look at people's careers and when they popped, I go 32. what the fuck? How did you know how to take a meeting with adults? I take meetings now and they're all my age. You know, like I don't ever take meetings where I'm talking to someone older than me anymore. I mean, seldomly.
So
But
when
like,
you popped after that whole college thing, did you go in the clubs for years?
oh
then?
no, I didn't pop.
Oh,
I
you
moved-
didn't?
Oh no.
No, you still
You had
didn't.
one big night.
I had one good night.
Okay.
That I decided that I go, I'm moving to New York. I was like, I'm gonna move to New York.
And
I'm
you
gonna
got the bug. Was it AIDS?
It was monkeypox. So
Monkeypox.
AIDS adjacent.
Oh, you got the showbiz bug. Okay.
Oh yeah, showbiz. Yeah, showbiz.
You got the showbiz bug. Got it.
But I moved to New York and was like, I'll just make it here. I'd already been in Rolling Stone. What are the odds? This kid's got it. You know, I got the magic sauce where they discovered me here. That'll happen again there.
Oh, you're starting to drink the Kool-Aid a little bit.
If I could go back and if I could have a podcast where I release conversations I had in a bar in 1997 in New York about who I was going to be, where I was going.
I mean, not even coked up. Just you were
Coked up
so
at times.
Yeah,
But like
just full of it's all heading your way. Like you have to believe the hype.
Oliver Stone optioned the rights to my life. I was like, this is
Oliver Stone, unreal.
And I was like, this is real. And then 6 months in, Will Smith discovers me and signs me to
6 months in.
I'm doing stand-up 6 months.
Wow.
I'm working the door at the Boston Comedy Club. Will Smith discovers me.
Did he ever
No.
lay hands on you?
Oh, I thought you meant sex. No.
No, I meant like a slap or something. I didn't know if there was a
Did
pattern
he
there.
lay his wiener on you? No, did you?
What? We're
Well,
gonna
you
have to
just
cut-
said. I thought
I
you
said
were-
hand.
My dad did
No.
think he wanted to have sex with me. at
I
one
was
point.
doing a slap joke.
His dad thought that
My dad thought Will wanted to have sex with me because when we met,
because
we
you're a
took our-
talentless
Your
hump.
dad, wait,
my dad said, Will goes,
your dad said Will wants it.
my dad said, I go to meet Will at the movie record studio or whatever, and he's doing Millennium. And he goes, "You're cool, man. We should hang out." And I was like, "Yeah," thinking, "Yeah, well, call me. We'll hang out one day." And he goes, "What are you doing tonight?" And I was like, "Nothing." He goes, "Let's go to the movies." And I was like, "Okay." So I get in the car, I call my dad, and he goes, "How did it go?" I go, "Good. We're going to the movies." And my dad's like, "On a date?" I go, "No." It's like, he goes, "What do you mean you're going to fucking movies with this guy? Like, what do you?"
It's like an old school.
Well,
dad.
it is unusual. You're not going to talk. You're going to look at a screen, and there's going to be popcorn shared.
not a bad first date.
Hands in the snacks.
At Planet Hollywood. He goes, "At Planet Hollywood." My dad goes, "They have a movie theater there?" I go, "I don't know."
Did he take a sip of a drink with a straw and then hand it to you?
Yeah.
No? Okay.
So my dad goes, "Oh, buddy, I think he wants to fuck you." I was like, "What?"
That's a
Dad's
first.
jumping ahead.
He goes, "It's
This
very."
is your
it's-
daddy.
He's my dad. He goes,
Okay.
"It's very common in Hollywood. These guys,
That's what
No,
they
it's a
hear.
Hollywood thing.
Oh,
he's
yeah.
not even gay.
Yeah.
It's just
they get so tired of pussy that the only thing that really excites them is the look on a boy's face when they turn them."
Good God.
And so I'm like, "Holy shit!"
When is his book coming
I
out?
go,
Yeah.
what am I supposed to do? And he goes, "Look, you're my only son. I'm just keeping an eye out for you." I go, "Dad, that's impossible." And he goes, "What's more likely? The fact that you are so talented
Oh boy.
that in 6 months of doing stand-up, the
I
biggest
love
movie
your
star in
dad.
the world wants to do a sitcom with you, or that he's tired of pussy and he wants to fuck you." And I was like, "What do I wear?" And he was like, "Something sloppy. Don't look good."
You're like, either way, I'm going.
Well,
to the
they used to
movies.
make. Well, what did you wear?
I wore overalls with a sweater over
Not
top the
sexy,
overalls.
not sexy.
And
I think you
A
ruined
hooter
it right
Do you
there.
have a hooter clamp, which is sort of a chastity
Excuse
belt
me?
for men?
What's funny
It's
is
called a hooter clamp.
what's a hooter clamp?
It's a chastity belt for men. I'm making this up. It was a running gag with my friends in college.
I like hooter
You're wearing
clamp.
a hooter clamp.
That
Hooter
should be our
clamp just
merch.
sounds funny. Run with it. You got a special out of it.
I go to Planet Hollywood and there's a 6'7" dude named Charlie Mack and he's like, "You Bert?" I go, "Yeah." And he goes, "Downstairs." I'm like, "I gotta fuck this guy too."
You're on the way down.
So you're getting exhausted ahead of time.
And there's 10 black dudes in this room waiting for me.
Bert.
And I'm doing the math. I'm like, this is fucking, I'm sure he's bringing Jazzy Jeff. That's 13 dudes I'm going to fuck tonight. He shows up with Jazzy Jeff. I swear to God.
Oh,
I
my
swear to God. We sat down and we watched
Wow.
American Pie at the
The
screening
heat
room.
is on.
And it
Nothing
was-
happened, right?
At the end, I told him I was a hip hop fan. At the end, he's like, "What'd you think?" I was like, "It's a good movie." And he was like, "No, about the room." I was like, "I don't know. What do you mean?" He's like, "The people." I was like, "They're black dudes?" And he goes, "No, you said you're a hip hop fan. That's Cool Mo D. That's Biz Marquee. That's Big Daddy Kane." He brought all these hip hop guys for me to meet.
To show off to you, and you don't know anything.
That's
about
even nicer.
And I just thought I was going to fuck. I was like, I could have fucked Biz Marquee. So, yeah.
I just texted my manager, and he's going to try to book Will on your podcast. So
I would
You
love to.
guys
By the
have-
way, that if he, I think he's
That's
in,
a good story.
He's in comedy timeout right now. Like no one's giving
Right.
him a break. I would love to have him on my podcast.
Yeah.
And my podcast is a lot bigger than the fucking Today Show.
Yeah.
And
Well, he might do because you do know him, and he did think you were talented when people weren't
that's a nice
clamoring
thing.
for you. Because didn't that lead to others? But by the way, when he was in college, they did when Oliver Stone optioned that movie.
Yeah.
And then it didn't pan out, but they did do Van Wilder, and then that was pretty much based on you, correct?
Pretty much.
We don't
Look,
know. We don't know.
I don't know because I wasn't in the production. It's weird. I had no problem saying that until I made a movie. Once you make a movie, you realize just how many people go into actually making a movie. Then it feels really cheap to be like, oh yeah, they read my article, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the rumor was that the people that wrote the script, when the option fell out with Oliver Stone, they just sold it to Van Wilder or to National Lampoon, and they just changed some names just made the movie. Which, I mean, I had nothing to do with the movie. I didn't write it. I didn't star in it. I never made any money from it. I mean, I've never even seen it.
Right, but you're saying it's eerily similar to yours.
All my friends' names are still in it. So.
And just for a second, because you mentioned it, it's interesting that my podcast is bigger than the Today Show. That this idea of television and podcasting is sort of it's something's going on.
Well, if Will Smith does an interview on the Today Show, I mean, I'm not shit on the Today Show.
No, you could say morning or television, basically.
I'll say every late night talk show and every morning talk show. If he does an interview on there, it's going to be very crafted. It's going to be very sterile, and it will
commercial breaks.
Yeah, maybe it'll get, I don't know, probably get big numbers for them. But if he did my podcast, or if he was did an episode like you did, and was a guest bear on Two Bears One Cave, multiple million people will hear him be a little more honest and a little more clear with his words. I think it'll be a better look for him. And comedy fans are there.
And he can say whatever he wants.
And also, we'll also help him. If he says something fucking foul, we'll edit it out for him, because that's how podcasts are.
I'm so glad we started this podcast.
Dude, your podcast is huge. And it's I mean, I don't know if, I mean, you guys are a little bit, and I mean this respectfully, but you guys are a little bit traditional media in that you guys are both movie stars, so that you have publicists, you have agents and managers, and some things that we kind of forgo. Publicists for me don't really do anything, because the first thing they say is, can you get on David Spade's podcast? Can you get on Joe Rogan's podcast? And I go, I just call them. I don't need you to do that.
Could you tell we were a little more straight-laced when you were telling the Will Smith story and we were shitting our fucking pants?
We're just thinking.
No, you're good about that. Well, you're good. I remember saying something shitty about Britney Spears, and you pulled it out of your show, and you whispered to me, "We'll pull that out."
Oh, about Britney,
because you're like, I don't know, but I remember you saying, "Yeah, I don't like shitting on people because it doesn't." And I heard you say that. My whole thing was talking shit on podcasts.
Yeah.
And then one day I was like, I'm going to go on Rogan, and I'm not going to shit on anybody. I'm going to talk positive about everyone. The next day I had like 17 DMs of like, dude, I really appreciate what you said to me. And you're like, oh, that pays off so much better.
Yeah. And Britney also has a fevered fan base that might, if they turn on you, you don't need that for just a flippant joke. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but I like your pod. I did Two Bears. Heather, right? I went over there.
You did Two Bears,
but I thought you were on.
Yeah, I know.
And
that's how Tom gets guests.
And who was that other guy?
Tommy Segura. He lives in Austin.
He was nice.
He's a local Austin comic.
No, Tom was great.
Tommy Segura.
Tom flew in to do it.
Yeah, Thomas Segura.
He came in to do it, which I thought was really super cool.
Yeah.
I was bummed you weren't there, but Tom and I had a blast.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a fun hang, and the fans that listen to both our podcasts, Your Mom House Birdcast and Two Bears, are like comedy fans.
Yeah.
So you can take big swings at shit, and they'll forgive you if you fuck up, and
you can take really dry, you can take really weird comedy moves. Like you're going to Largo and doing a set. Like you're going to where you go, I'm going to try stuff. If you're sharp comedians or you're sharp fans, then you like these type of jokes.
But is there a little bit of a sea change even with your audience of accepting more stuff because of the period of time of you can't say that, you can't say that, you can't say that, or you've been the same all the way through?
You can say almost anything on
but
a podcast.
Could I do Indian accent, Chinese accent?
Yeah, I mean, I think but I don't.
This
sounds
to.
crazy, but I don't think there's woke, but I think there's like, if you were doing it in a mean way, I think people would be like, oh, that's not, that's the weird thing is that like, I think comedy, when people go, well, what's about cancel culture? I don't think it's changed at all. I don't think It's like swimming in the ocean. If you focus on the sharks, you're not gonna have a good time. But if you just go, hey man, it's the ocean. There are sharks in here, but I don't think I'm gonna get attacked. And if I do, fuck it.
Right.
That's how you kind.
If I do, fuck it. That's a T-shirt.
Yeah. If I got to pull my legs up if I say something dicey.
Yeah.
But it's all your. I think comedy is your intent.
It's intent. I
you
agree
ever see
with you.
someone older
do
comedy? Like I remember a guy. I won't say his name, but he was doing Asian accents on stage, and he was not doing them kindly. Where you look at the Asian person in the room, and you'd be like, "That is kind of fucked up."
They do, yeah. Make it like an asshole.
And so I think, I think you could get away with a lot of stuff in comedy if people know your intent's right. And I think the same goes with our fans. As I've said fucked up stuff. I've definitely said fucked up stuff on Two Bears. Stuff I regret, hardcore. But I think our fans also give you that swing zone. They go, I know the guy's a good guy.
Yeah, they know you, and you guys got in early, I think, which was smart because you just build it up, and then they're actually just very hardcore fans of your stuff. Because when I went on Two Bears, then there's people that maybe haven't seen me in a while. You know what I mean? Just the cross-pollination of, you're right. There's Fallon, there's Ellen. I used to do Letterman a lot, Stern. But if you hit this, those are the same audiences all the time, and they're great.
You
They're
guys
great
are like martinis, right? So like
I like
say I'm a beer, right?
Mhm.
So like, but I'm good for these guys every day. But when you guys show up, everyone's like, oh fuck, I haven't had a martini in a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Oh shit, these are fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's cool
Nice.
about like you guys is, look, all me and Tom's career has been made on the internet and made with these with like podcasting and comedy and specials. You guys have things that like obviously Tom and I dream about, but like you have careers that and stories and things that like the average comedy fans like, oh shit, like
Right, it's kind of going away. Like the normal young person, we live next to some TikTokers here, and they make way more money than me, and they're great. But that world of being famous between the ages of 17 and 25, and they're doing different things. Those stories are more similar in that way, but there's not that many going. Like, who's a famous movie star? Timothy Chalamet, under 30. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who has those stories of being on a TV show or a sitcom and a TV and movies and SNL? That is going away, and it's more like I'm famous for this, which is totally acceptable now. You're on this, YouTube, all that. It's just a different world. So we're in a world sort of going away, and it's fun to mix them up, you know, because you have great stories. You're like Theo in the way that Theo Von, where there's so many crazy fucking things that I hear that you do that, like, Theo, anything you say goes, oh yeah, you go, I'm gonna order some ribs. Oh, in 5th grade, this girl had ribs in her forehead, 12 ribs. No, for real. And
then he
she was
worked the word
pregnant.
rib
And you
cage.
go, these are a million things that happen to you. And you're sort of like that, where it seems like you have an endless amount of things that actually happen to you. And that keeps it going. That's hard. It's hard to be interesting.
I feel like I've run out of all the interesting stuff I've ever done.
Well, I was watching
Me
your.
too.
I guess it's from 2 days ago, and you're trying not to drink this month, and then Tom was talking about ayahuasca and stuff. So it was very compelling. I mean, it went by very fast. You guys have a great chemistry.
I don't know if Dana knew this story, but you've probably told it, but our audience hasn't heard probably some of it. But when I was at the Comedy Store that night that whole Molly thing happened.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't know you well, and I don't go to the Comedy Store that much. And it was like, I remember, because I've heard that story since. I don't know if you told the whole thing, but it was just that something happened, and I was like, oh, that's so funny. I think I was there. You walked in. I just happened to be in the green room, I think with Adam Egget or someone, and then you were like, oh shit, something weird just went down.
Yeah.
And then
I don't know this story.
I had to fly to start my tour. This is probably 2019, I guess.
Yeah.
And my buddy Ari Shafir, great comic, was in town. And I was like, well, why don't we do a podcast? I go, it would be perfect. We'll have some sunset drinks in my backyard, have a cigar. I'm gonna have dinner with my family, and then I'm gonna bounce, go to the airport, and I'll be fine. He was like, great. And he, as we went into I have a man cave built by the TV show Man Caves. So in my old house. And so he said we should do a shot to celebrate for tonight. And I was like, okay. I mean, I don't need to do shots. I'm not like a huge shot guy, but I was like, all right, whatever. So we did a shot of scotch, which is an odd thing to shoot. And it tasted off. And so then we start doing a podcast, and like an hour in, my face is just kind of warm. I'm like, I feel fucking weird. And Ari is like, obviously, I love Ari, and we're still friends. But he's like, "Do you feel weird?" And I was like, "Yeah, I do." And he was like, "Maybe you're on something." And I was like, "I'm not. Trust me, I'm on blood pressure medicine. I don't take anything." And he was like, "Maybe you're on something. Maybe you're on Molly." Okay, I'm going to tell you something. You can't be mad. You got to promise not to be mad. And I was like, mind you, we're doing a podcast. And so I'm like, what? And he goes, "I roofied you. I gave you Molly. You're on Molly right now." And I'm like, why was
Wow.
I didn't release the podcast because number one, I didn't want to become a meme because the look on my face when I realized I'm on Molly is very, very real. Other than the fact that it's a tad bit dappled from the tree, it's pretty real and it's not cool and I'm not happy. And my cousin comes over and I'm on Molly and I called Joey Diaz. Joey Diaz, I just called him and the podcast kind of falls apart. We're still recording everything,
right?
But I'm freaking out.
Sure.
I'm like, what? I'm like, dude, I'm on blood pressure.
It's making me nervous to feel like you're on drugs and you don't know it, and then how weird you would feel,
and then
and I was like, I have high blood pressure and like, what the fuck? Did you consult my cardiologist? Like, I'm not supposed to do. What if I have a stroke? And he was like, well, you have a stroke. I don't know what to tell you.
Sounds like a really good friend.
Good. It's good TV.
That's where it's problematic is that he is a good guy, but there's a broken part to Ari where he also finds this very entertaining. Maybe not now, but at the time.
Right. And you guys all push it with different things you do, and one goes too far, but it's
And
more like it could be really funny.
Is that an ecstasy or is it?
It's ecstasy.
Yeah, okay.
And so I called Joey Diaz.
Doesn't sound like the actual ecstasy of happiness.
Molly.
Oddly enough, this is the panic moment. Where it hits me.
I've gotten like that in drugs.
Yeah, and I'm just like, I remember, the feeling of going, I don't want to be on this.
Yeah.
But there's no getting out of this. So it's like almost like a claustrophobia.
It's scary because you're stuck for hours.
Yeah, I go 4 hours. It's going to last 4 hours, and I have to be on a plane in 3.5.
Ugh.
And so I'm like, I call Joey Diaz. Joey Diaz, I God bless Joey Diaz. I said, Ari just slipped me Molly, and I didn't even finish my sentence. He was like, dog, I'll be there in 15. He comes over in 5 minutes. We live near each other. He's in the backyard, and he just calmed me down. He took Molly also, I think, and was like, "Dog, we're all gonna be fine. If we die, we die." And I was like, that kind of made me comfortable.
Yeah.
We don't do the podcast. We don't finish the podcast. We just leave.
Yeah.
He leaves. We pull my wife into the bathroom, and my cousin's with me. My cousin was my tour manager at the time. I was like, "Listen, I'm going to tell you something, but I need to not take care of you right now. I need you to not lose your shit." But I've got to pack for a flight. I don't want to see the girls. I've been slipped Molly by Ari, and I'm blowing up right now. Like I'm losing my fucking mind. And man, she fucking livid. I could see it in her eyes.
And she's trying not to probably because she doesn't want to flip you out.
Yeah. And she was like, "Where is he?" And I was like,
"Oh no, not where is
he?
he?
Gone. He's gone." She goes, Okay. She goes, "Don't worry about clothes. Grab your backpack, go to the Comedy Store, go have a drink, go to the Comedy Store, and then go to the airport. Don't go to the airport now." And then she was like very specific about go find a bar, go relax somewhere, have fun, whatever, let the drug try to wear off, and then get yourself to the airport. But don't show up at the airport on drugs. Show up to the airport as close to the getting out of your system as possible.
Oof.
So I got my cousin and I went straight to the
So I did see you. I was thinking, maybe
we went
I'm
to the
thinking I'm
Comedy
lying.
Store, and I walked into the back. It was the back bar.
Yeah.
And you were there with Whitney Cummings
Okay.
and Adam, and they're like, "Hey, how you doing?" And I was like, "Not good." And you're like, "What's going on?" And I was like, "I just got slipped Molly." And then Ari walked in, and he goes, "It's feeling good, huh?" And by the way, it was feeling amazing. It was like I was.
Oh yeah.
It was.
I was going to ask, what are you feeling?
It felt just euphoric. Like you wanted to touch people. You wanted to be touched. I felt euphoric.
So you're not really mad. You're stuck in it now. Now you're.
I
now
realized.
you're feeling okay.
This is the moment I realized how strong it was. As I packed my backpack, I realized I had left my iPad on my last flight. And instead of being angry, I thought, I bet that person needed an iPad. And I was like, that's a weird fucking thought.
Yeah.
I was like, I just gifted someone an iPad. Yeah,
Well,
let's go to the store. So I just kept drinking. I got on a plane. I was not wearing off. It lasted way longer than I wanted to.
And you had to get on this plane, obviously. Or you say I would
I
have
had to,
bailed
yeah.
out, yeah.
This is, and so I got on the plane.
How's your your auto? I mean, how are you walking and how are you?
I'm walking fine. You're very dialed in.
Okay.
You're very dialed in.
You're not stumbling.
You're like
supposed to be fun.
Yeah,
but if it-
it's a lot of fun. I mean, Molly delivers. Like, there's a few drugs that go, hey man, I promise you, I'll be what you want me to be.
Well, as you
That's
know,
why they sell it at
psychedelics have
Coachella.
become a big part of
Yeah.
kind of mental health and people who are toward the end of their life, and it's this reset. So we'll get to that later if it had lasting effects. But what happened next?
I get on the plane, very chatty, very talkative, guy next
Almost
to me.
feminine.
guy.
I remember I was rubbing the dude's hand next to me, like I was like just had my hand on his hand, and he was like, and I was like, hey, listen, I got to tell you a secret. I got slipped Molly this afternoon.
Hey, total stranger.
I'm going to use that next time I'm at the airport. I got slipped to Molly. Can I get my
The guy
seat?
was a fan. The guy was a fan. He knew who I was, and so
okay.
I told him, and I said, you're going to hear about this on a podcast. I'm sure we're doing Rogan next week. I'm sure that'll come up, but just know you were sitting next to me when this happened. And
I'll
he
be
was
dry
like,
humping your
he was
leg
like,
for the
shut
next.
the fuck up. And then it's that great line from Stripes. Is it Stripes? And then depression sank in, and I woke up the next day totally depleted of dopamine, totally panic riddled, totally like depressed. What the fuck just happened? Did I fuck up my career because I wasn't cool about it? Is this and Whitney Cummings called me immediately, and I was like, what do I do with this podcast? Whitney Cummings like, you do not release this podcast. That is, you control your dialogue with your fans, and you do not need them to mock you because you weren't like the cool guy getting slipped Molly, like, that's what's up. And so she goes, you don't want to become Crying Jordan. And so
Crying Jordan.
Whitney
the
is the first person I talked to. I talked to her a bunch that week. I got a few IVs. I got an IV, and the Molly kicked back in.
Really?
Yeah. And all of a sudden, I was like,
Really?
That's great.
and I was about to go on stage. I had to do two shows, and I was like, "Oh, what's up, St. Louis?"
So Molly was
and
just
you're
late
still
in
a little bit flying. Oh, wow.
Yeah, and so whatever was in the IV, it just booted it back, and I was shaky. And I got on stage. I had to do two shows, and then Ari and I didn't, and then we did Rogan, and it's interesting because everyone's take, like Tom and Joe's take, personally, was very honest, and like that was really fucked up, man. Like that's like, dude, we love you, like this and that, and then we did the podcast. Tom and Joe were like, dude, how cool, whatever,
Clowning on you.
They're making fun of me because I didn't love it, but I think they also came out. I don't know, look, whatever you say, what you say on a podcast to get laughs, and so Ari and I didn't talk for like a whole month. We had to do Sober October. Then that was the last Sober October I did until this one because it destroyed Sober October. Like no one chatted on the chat thread. No one kept in touch with each other. No one spoke. It really kind of drove a division between all of us. And then at the end of the month, Ari was like, called me. I was in Connecticut, and he was like, I really fucked up, didn't I? And he'd called a number of times. I wouldn't answer his call. I was like, yeah, you did. I was like, my thing. Like we all got our mantra that fucks with our heads for whatever thing. And mine is, you think I'm weak because I'm a nice guy. You think you can step all over me.
Yeah.
there.
And so,
Guilty.
Yeah.
Me too.
And
Never. Yeah, but a nice guy is usually a nice guy until he's not a nice guy. So you don't ever want to see the
That
other
is
guy.
bad, yeah.
yeah. And I
then
told him, I
it's-
said, that's how I feel. That's the thing that fucks with me. I've talked to him so ad nauseum about how I feel about X person stealing a joke or taking advantage of me.
Yeah.
I go, and you did the thing that makes me, you did it publicly. And he was like, oh, I don't think I saw it that way. And so I fucked up. And my wife my daughters hate him. My daughters hate him. We'll never, like I was texting with him one time. I just texted me and I texted back. My daughter, Georgia, saw it. She grabbed my phone. She goes, no.
It's like a bad breakup. He's like, you're not still talking to him.
She goes, Dad, imagine how you would feel if you saw me replying to a dude who had drugged me. And I went, whoa.
That's a pretty mature young woman. How old was she?
She's, I
at
don't
the
know.
time?
16,
Is this
15.
guy going
you know
around?
how
I
she
don't
is
know
now?
him, but is
No,
he
no.
still slipping mollies to people?
Okay, yes,
He travels around and goes to different states.
He's
He's a good guy. It's crazy is that I say that and people like he's gotten in a lot of trouble for being who he is, but who he is this really, I mean, you know him.
Yeah.
He's not a bad guy.
no. I'm saying that
It's always a bad sign when you have to say that.
you're
He's not a
someone
bad guy.
trying to do a bit or do a joke. It went too far, and he probably learned like, holy shit.
We went to a bachelor party. We went to Mark Norman's bachelor party together. I'm still friends with him. I'm very good friends with him. And we went to the bachelor party, and he pulled me aside before the bachelor party started, and he goes, I just need you to know I would never slip anything in your drink again. I need you to know that you can be comfortable around me. And I was like, I got you, buddy. I was like, please don't slip something in my drink, because that's part of me goes, well, that's the funniest joke. If he does it again, and he's like, he's like, is it still not cool?
Bert, do you think a little bit of his rationale was like, Bert's going to have a good time on this. He's going to have a great story with this. This is going to be a cool experience for him, maybe.
I think, you know, people see me drinking on a plane, and then they go, God, this guy parties. And they don't realize that drinking on a plane is attached to something a little different. And so I think people think.
Yeah, you're not partying. You're just trying to survive the flight and not have a heart attack.
And I think people assume a lot about me not knowing me. They think I'm drunk every time I'm on stage. I've never drink on stage. I never drink on stage. I mean, I have, obviously, but like if I do a show, I'm sober.
Well, I just look at your Wikipedia. I look at the 3 specials in 5 years. I look at, you did a tour last year, like a stadium tour. I mean, the workload is so extreme that it would crowd out drinking time.
I still drink pretty aggressively.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, how many a day?
I created a drive-in comedy tour. Through UTA. We set up a whole drive-in tour during the pandemic, and then I did a baseball stadium tour called Fully Loaded.
Was that with Nikki Glazer on that?
Nikki Glazer, Big J Oberstein, Shane Gillis, Mark Norman.
So you're saying like 60,000?
We did.
That's a big one.
40,000.
I think most venues were about 10,000, and so we did some arenas. We did minor league baseball stadiums.
Oh, okay.
And then I have my tour, and then depending on when this comes out, I've a bunch of things to announce. And so, I'm a workaholic in the sense that I just see if you're awake, you should be working.
Right.
You know, I just always want to do stuff. I like making stuff.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you a question, because I like specifics. So, because we always talk about heavy drinking, whatever. So say it's beyond.
I love specifics.
You're like a normal day. You're functional. You're doing your thing, but it's kind of a day off, or maybe you're going to do an open mic, the workout material. Just take me through that day of your consumption, where you're still Bert, you're functional, but what can you put? Well, how much can you do and still be functional in a day?
So there's
space them out.
There's 2 different Berts. If there's Bert on the road,
right?
I never drink if today if I came here and you were like and you had drinks lined up and it wasn't sober October, I would 100% drink with you in a second.
Damn.
And I would drink
we got to have you back on.
I'd drink hard and I would have fun and I'd be like, I'd hope we do like 3 hours. I'd be like into it. And then I'd go and do my day but I wouldn't have driven here. I would take an Uber here. I'm pretty responsible about that.
Yeah.
But usually if I'm in LA, I won't drink.
Usually with the family and everything.
Yeah, I won't drink at all until like, if I'm not doing sets, I'll open a bottle of wine around like sunset with my wife. Or like if I'm at the store, I won't drink until my OR set. Like I'll do.
So you're very controlled.
Yeah.
I would think if someone said you were drunk on stage, I would guess that's possible, because the thing about growing up and when you got famous from all these stories and these shows you did, and it was like sort of a jackass show you did, Hurt Bert, and that it's like those guys where you obviously are bringing stand-up to it, and you've spun it into a whole thing, but in a very successful career. But just that past people, when I see it around other people that party, they want to party with you, or they want to buy you drinks, or they want to, and it gets to be kind of a hassle on stage. They'll be sent drinks. I'm getting sent drinks on stage, or when I'm out, or when I'm dinner, and that gets to be hard, because that if it turns into your rap, you're like, well, it's not my one move. It's like there's more going on here.
It's definitely when I was doing clubs when I was younger, I had no problem drinking on stage. If they sent shots, I'd do them.
Yeah.
But I also can handle my booze well enough that I never got fucked up on stage. I just do a shot, have a beer with me, and be like, yeah, that's fine. But when I really started focusing on specials, like when I did the machine, that's when I realized, it's not just I have an hour.
Yeah.
It's like I have an hour that I'm going to craft into a good hour that has peaks and valleys and arcs and there's saplings I plant at the beginning that I can harvest later, and like it's a real art form. And I wasn't until I did the machine that I was like, I can't drink on stage. I'm working on something, and then from that point on, and then I started doing theaters. And once you do theaters,
it's a whole different ballgame.
It's like
and it's scary. I'm on the theater tour now, and I Dana obviously is a very well-known comedian, does these big gigs. And when I do these theaters,
he's selling out
in the last year, because I just always do clubs, and I would do a movie, and I go, oh, is the Irvine Improv? Can they give me a couple days early in the week without a lot of notice? And you go do it, and it's fun. And you could have a drink, or you could goof around on stage and get fucked up, and you're still. It's like a fun party atmosphere. It's 300 or 400 people. But when you do bigger theaters, it's like work. It's like a job, and you really people don't know. It's so hard to focus and get a tight hour that is kind of airtight because you have a pause. You drift off. People yell, or they're paying a lot more. They're very attentive. It's a bigger deal, and then you owe them more. Of course, you want to be good. Doesn't mean you're always going to kill, but you're at least you got to go in if you have any work ethic going.
And the club is all drinking. They all have drinks.
The club is about selling booze.
Yeah.
I mean, ultimately, I remember Tell told me when I was very young. He goes, "You can't promise that." We were talking about a certain club. He goes, "You can't promise that guy's gonna." First of all, he's not gonna watch your set. Second of all, his sense of humor is horrible. And he goes, "How many drinks did you sell?" And I was like, "I don't know." And he goes, "Well, I can promise you, he checked at the end of the week."
Oh yeah, I mean they'll book you back because they go he sells drinks.
That's how I got. How I started touring. What I would do is I would bring beers on stage. I'd drink one, maybe two, do some shots if I needed to. But after the show, I'd tell everyone on my late show, stick around. I'm going to be at the bar drinking. Don't leave. Let's hang out. And I remember
smart.
Tony Baldino was like, "Hey man, you just made me $13,000."
Yeah.
Like, what? He was like, "I'll bring you back definitely if you keep doing this." So I would set up bar games.
Yeah, that's a good.
And be like, "We're gonna gamble after this. Everyone out there, it's a $20 buy-in, $5 rebuys. We're gonna see if we can throw a ball from across the bar into a hoop. First one gets the pot." And so dudes would be like, "Fuck, we'll stay." And then
they order a drink just while they're waiting and watching, and like,
and so we
instead of going somewhere else to go have another drink, they go, "Let's just stay here and watch what's going on."
Yeah. And so I used to do that a lot, and then I started doing these call and sick to work shows where I'd tell them.
I love it.
I'd tell the club because I was like, "Hey, open up at 10 a.m. It's like it's St. Patty's Day. Open up at 10 a.m. I'll go do radio, and as soon as radio is over, I'm coming over to the club. We'll tell everyone to call in sick to work, and we'll just do a show at like 11:30." And those would sell out in minutes. I mean, I'd call in ahead of time and be like, to Tampa or Philly and
do you
be like,
tell the radio station? Is that how you do it?
I
You
call
say it
up,
on the
there's
air?
all my friends like Preston and Steve in Philly or Elliot in the morning or Cowhead. I'd be like, "Yo, I'd call in 2 weeks ahead of time and be like, Monday on the 16th, I'm doing a call and sick to work show," and immediately they would sell out. And then I would hold true and do radio. I'd drink on radio.
Yeah.
And like party on radio, and then me and the radio station, we'd hold like 20 tickets for a boss who wanted to just. It was really fun. Boss would be like, "Hey, I'm shutting down shop. You got tickets for me?" And we'd be like, "Yeah." So they'd all come in. It was fucking awesome. You could only make $5,000. That was the nut. And so it wasn't like
it just seems like you have a really good business acumen.
That's good, though.
You just know that's kind of brilliant. The fuck off day.
Oh, it's
set,
I was such a mediocre talent for the majority of my career that I didn't mind taking chances because I was already failing anyway. So like I didn't mind. So when we did the drive-in movie theaters, I got awards for that. But it was like my special came out March 17th. Stay-at-home order started on the 13th. I was like, well, it was not that bad for business for me. Like, because everyone was home to watch my special.
So the special blew up.
And I was like, I'm going to support this
No,
special.
but the hard part is they all like it. I had Wrong Missy come out during, and then you go, I
loved it.
I couldn't even celebrate when we were number one in the world. I go, I'm celebrating at my house eating Cheez-Its because I can't leave. I can't go anywhere.
Yeah.
So
but hold on, because I had the same feeling.
Yeah.
Because Wrong Missy came out right, I think after my special.
Yeah. It was May.
And I remember my special came out, and I remember seeing there's like that heart button on Instagram, and it's like all the people that mention you in the story, and it was just one line. You couldn't even see the marks, and I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, it's blowing up. So I called my agent, and I was like, hey man, I got a tour. And he's like, there's no touring. And I was like, what about drive-in movie theaters? He goes, it's not a thing. I said, no, there are out there. I've Googled them. They're out there.
That's what you did because you had to capitalize on that.
I said, I got a tour. I got people that are watching my special. I've got to lock these fans in to let them know I'm a good comic and that they got to come see me live. So we found an EDM promoter, Hotbox, and we brought them in, and they said, we've done shows. We've done like EDM shows during the pandemic. We could do comedy and just put you on a stage in front of the big screen. They come out in their cars, and it was fucking epic. I mean, they'd come out 4 hours early and be grilling out, tailgating.
Oh yeah.
It was the coolest thing, probably the coolest thing I've ever done in my career, like at that time, because it was like during the pandemic. But I remember watching Wrong Missy during the pandemic. It's like when you get good entertainment during the pandemic,
thank
that's
God.
like a
Just
treat.
a funny
it's
movie.
A treat.
Yeah, just
funny.
a hard
Laura
R.
Lapkus, I'm a fan of her. I follow her on Instagram.
Oh, she's
I've
unreal.
never talked to her, never met her, but she fucking killed me in that fucking movie.
And it just seemingly out of nowhere. People knew me, and I was sort of the straight man again. And when I read it, actually Sandler said to me, he goes, I think you'll like this one. And I go, I like that Ben Stiller part, like Jason Bateman, where you're just, the shit's going on around you and you get to react. And Lauren Lapkus, it's like the girl has to be good. And so it winds up being Lauren. And she was known around here,
awesome.
But when she goes in there and just hits you from out of the blue and everything she's saying, and she's so dirty and hilarious and clever. And we were about halfway done filming, and I'm like, you're filming out of sequence, but I go, I think it's pretty funny. Maybe I'm crazy, but we still have this scene, the threesome scene, and the cliff. I go, I think this could be good. And you have no idea, obviously. And then when it comes on and it starts doing well, that was the hugest. And it was too huge and we were stuck.
Oh, I loved it. That's when you'd want it. I mean, you got to realize.
Well, that's why it's doing so well.
Yeah.
And then,
that's why it did so well, because
but
it was
you can't
word of
go
mouth.
shoot another movie because you're not allowed to shoot a movie.
Well, I had a TV series of The Cabin that came out
Yeah, I
during
remember
the
that.
pandemic.
With
And it was
comics,
the
right?
highest rated non-scripted series on Netflix.
Cabin related show.
And cabin related show.
It sounds fun. It was
and I
you
was
going,
like,
to a
and
cabin.
everyone, Netflix called. They're like, congratulations on having a hit. I remember someone's like, we should just celebrate our success right now. And I was like, yeah. And then they didn't. They're like, well, we'd love to do more, but we're in pandemic.
Can't do anything.
Can't do anything. And for
Then
2
it
years,
loses some heat.
Is it going
You're
to come
like,
back then?
No, I'd love for it to. I would. At the time that we did it, I was so nobody that I couldn't get anyone famous on the show. So it was just comics. It was just all my friends: Whitney, Bobby, Donnell, Tommy, Joey. I just got comics on, and it was like obviously it's guys who are good at podcasting. So we didn't have any script. We just improv'd everything.
And they're funny, so there's something funny's going to happen.
I think we had a soft commit from you, Sandler, and Norm.
Thought about that.
Oh,
Because
fun.
Adam Egget was working on it with
Yeah.
us, and he was like, I might be
right,
able
I'm
to
gonna
get,
talk
and
to
I
these
think,
guys.
yeah, and he was like, what would you do with them? And I was like, oh, you're being fucking serious. I was like, well, the problem is I would have just sat with you guys and be like, can you guys walk me through all my favorite scenes? So it would have been nothing, but.
By the way, Spade, go fight that bear. We got 2 cameras on you. I remember doing parking lot shows. I did probably 5 parking lot shows. Hey, where my Land Cruisers at? Yeah, I was good. I'm like, this Geo Prism knows what I'm talking about. Meep, meep. Remember at the Magic Castle, they were making noise. Did you ever do that one?
No, I never did those.
They had like fans that made noise, and they go out the windows because they weren't allowed to get out of their cars there. So instead of flicking their lights, they did for a while. Then it was just, but there was a little noise. So you go, that one killed.
Yeah.
Because you could get some sense, but
I let them. We only did states where they could get out of their cars, like red states.
Oh, that's fun. Yeah.
So we did the middle of the country. So they would. I mean, they get out of their cars. They set up couches.
Yeah, it's like a football game.
It was like a football game. We did one. We did like 3,000 cars in Philly, and and they weren't allowed out of their cars, and it was tough.
I did states where they weren't allowed to laugh. And it really sort of defeated.
Oh shit! I did Mississippi.
I have another question. I know it's getting late, but
No,
I have a
fine.
question. You're used to doing 12-hour podcasts.
Yeah, I could talk to you guys.
When you do-
forever.
I'm enjoying this.
You
a
do
lot.
this because Dana did a special on Netflix, and mine was out about not that long ago.
2016.
I was curious about your choice of shoes. Asics.
Fuck off! In my
Asics.
special?
Yeah.
Oh, because
You wore Asics.
I got a bad neck, so I really am whittled down into what. It's not what kind of shoes; it's what type of Skechers I'll be
Well,
wearing.
no. Can I tell you? It made
You
me,
like Asics?
No, I love Asics. That's
Okay.
all I run in. But it was so interesting because I'm so hyper aware, despite the fact that I wear nothing on stage.
Yeah.
I'm so hyper aware about jeans and shoes
Mhm.
that I always look at what shoes people wear.
Yeah, because I got a bad neck, and they're kind of comfy for me, and and I try to look decent. But
You look great.
It is
good. They're good Asics. Asics are sharp shoes.
It's 2 hours, you know. So and I'm doing probably an hour 15 each show. We're gonna trim it to about an hour. So I know it's a long night. I don't want to feel shitty.
It's a great special.
It's my best. You want to feel your best. But my problem was, which I was going to ask you first, is when you do yours. It comes out March. You said, and there's pandemic, and you went, and when you went back out for your tour, you're just talking about.
Yeah.
Do you change your hour? Is it half the same, or is it all new, or what is your theory on that?
So I give myself. I should say I write really quick in that any one of my bits are like 9 minutes long.
Yeah,
so
that's kind of good.
If I have a bit, I can have 2 new bits and have half a new hour. So what I do is, I'm filming my special November 16th and 17th, or 17th and 18th in Omaha. I'm not the kind of guy that goes like Tom or Joe. They go, I'm taking 2 months off. I'm done. I'm not that guy. I go, get me on the road the next fucking week because I can use this hour that I currently have to fuck around and come up with my new hour.
Yeah.
Because no one's seen, I can still do some markets that no one's seen it.
Yeah.
So I can go, I've booked out.
Until the day it airs, you're like, I got a time.
The day it airs,
milk
it's
it
dead.
out.
It's dead.
That's a hard part because I keep some, but I whittled out. I probably the next day took out half, 30 minutes.
Yeah.
But it was too hard because it came out 2 months later. It wasn't like
we're
going to sit on it for a while. I go, it's got to come out sooner. Some of the jokes, they get stale. You know, you just want them out. Comedy doesn't sit well on the shelf. So I'm whittling. It's almost all gone now. There's a couple. But no one said anything. It's kind of an unwritten rule. And some people it bothers and some people it doesn't. Like some people when I see Sebastian, I'm like with my friends going, well, I hope he does an Uber joke.
Yeah.
Hope he does a thing about the wedding and or the homeless, whatever. And then if they don't, you're kind of disappointed too.
Well, I saw Sebastian at the Forum. He was kind enough to give me and all my friends tickets.
Yeah, he's a nice dude.
And it's crazy because I personally want to see what he's working on, but I'm there with my friends and my wife, and I don't want my wife to not respect how great Sebastian is. Yeah. So part of me is like, I hope he does the fucking coffee bit, or the company bit, and he does. And Sebastian's really smart about it. But I think when you're, look, I don't know that there's no answer because I was told to retire the Machine Story, and I've now been telling that on stage. Like 7 years since it went viral. Yeah. And so and when I start it, the pop is so big that there's not anyone really in comedy that as a comic that would sit off stage and not go, yeah, they're tired of hearing it. I mean, it's when I say I was 22 years old, I got involved with the Russian Mafia. I did it in Pittsburgh the other day. In Pittsburgh, I did PPG Paints Arena. 12,000 people.
12,000 people.
Yeah, and I started the Machine Story, and they gave me a standing ovation. And so I'm like, well, I don't think I'm ready to retire.
Well, it's
yet.
like a hit song. It's like Don't Stop Believing by Journey. I do the ones that I really like that I think have some staying power, and some I hate to give up because you know how hard it is. It's so valuable to have a bit that works.
Like murders.
And if you get one tight and you've done it and you've got all the. And you got to take it out, but you can't really.
I just say to the audience, if I missed anything, what do you want? You know,
well,
and they start yelling out
stuff.
Well,
that's also. I would love to be in that. I think I would love to do a tour. I was thinking about doing a tour where I put all my put my cities on sale, and then put all my old bits for like 30 minutes worth of old bits, and then go because Wilco did that.
Like audience vote,
go pick what songs you want to hear. Wilco did that, and it was fucking cool as shit. 'Cause I'm like. Oh, I wouldn't mind. Now that I know the set list for Minneapolis, I'll fly to Minneapolis to hear that set. And so because I have this flying dildo story that I have.
Me too.
I have fighting a bear. I have like all these huge stories that were just a staple of my act. And then I have other ones like of my daughters that people go tell the period party story, and I don't because I'm working on the new hour. I would love. I have no problem. Playing to the audience, if they would love to hear stories, if I could go do an arena tour, like I'm doing an arena tour this 2023, but it's going to be all new material because I have to get ready for another fucking special.
Yeah, it's hard.
So, is this your first time just pure arenas?
I'm doing half arenas, half theaters right now.
But you're at peak Bert, right? You're as hot as you've ever been, or selling more
Tim
tickets.
Dillon
Peak
right now.
Bert.
Yeah. Tim Dillon. Let
me tell you something.
I woke up and told him. I was telling him I wake up sometimes with anxiety, and he goes, "Why?
Why?
It doesn't get better than right now for you. No one told you have to stop drinking yet. You get to party. Your kids are still young. You're making more money than you've ever made. in a couple years, it's gonna get really bad. But right now, it's peak Bert.
He said peak Bert.
And so I was like, yeah, what the fuck am I stressed about? So Europe, Australia, and then just arenas.
This will come out right after that tour.
Where's your podcast? How in foreign countries? Where does it really land?
Oh yeah, do you know
Canada.
foreign? Do
Canada.
You
You
have
go to
foreign
Australia
presence?
and you'll sell out 12,000 there too.
Yeah,
Oh, for real?
All from the
Australia.
podcast.
Oh yeah. Oh, I mean, I sold out
can't
tickets in
believe it.
Australia.
He's the funniest guy I've ever seen.
This bloke right here.
Give
It's
him
like
a point.
It's like a king's punch when he gets on stage.
The King's Punch tour.
So Australia, Canada was the first place I was like,
What's that about?
I was like, what the fuck, man? What's happening? Like, I'm huge in Canada. Like, I'd go to Edmonton and sell out like 9 shows, 10 shows, and then sell 2 bags of merch. And I was like, what the fuck? Canada was really big in podcasting. So was Ohio. This is where
Canada and Ohio.
those were the places you could sell tickets in Ohio, Canada, Portland. All of a sudden these places started popping up, and then someone was like, my agent was like, do you want to do Australia? I was like, I'd love to. Put tickets on sale in Australia, sold out immediately. And I was like, what? Did Australia, and they were like, I didn't change one bit of my act at all. And they were like, you get done, they're like, tell Joey Diaz to come down here. Tell Tommy to come down here.
Really?
And you're like, oh, they're podcast fans. Then I remember going to England and with my family, and I did one small show in like a comedy club, 150 seater. Put it on sale and it sold out in like 5 minutes. And I went, that's fucking bizarre.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did a European tour and that sold out. So like Europe is really big, like the Oslo, Sweden, Switzerland, like all that. Scandinavia is huge. Germany's huge. Portugal, Greece, all of England. Ireland's the fucking shit.
I can do
Ireland
I can do parts of Bulgaria.
It's not half bad, man.
Ireland is
really?
the best stand-up comedy town ever.
Dublin.
Fucking ever.
Yeah,
They are
Dana's Irish.
in it.
And
They
I have
are
Irish relatives.
They are. That is like I
They
forget.
appreciate it so much.
They
Plus,
get
you
it.
come
They
over
get
there,
it.
and if they like you, but the podcasting is good to listen to because they might not get something. They might not hear, but it's probably pretty easy to dial into a podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I think
And
by
you've
the
been
time
doing
they
it
hear your
forever.
podcast, they know you. By the time they see you in
They
Dublin,
know every
they're
fucking aspect
they're
of
in.
you.
They know everything. I mean, they know my daughter went to college, and like kids knock on her door. And by the way, if you're a kid listening to this, please don't. But they knock on the door every night, and they're like, "Hey, I want to party with you." My daughter's like, "What the fuck?"
I'm not a blubbering idiot. That's my dad.
But it's you feel like intimately, like my wife gets recognized like crazy because I talk about her so much in my stand up and on my podcast, and she has a podcast, and it really is podcasting is so intimate.
Yeah.
And I say this because I
You
was a
say
podcast
so many things
fan.
about yourself.
But I was a fan of podcasting first. So like I remember hearing podcasting going like, holy shit, this is like, it was magic. It was
It's
magic.
like listening to 2 people talk in another room. They're like 2 people you like, and you're going, I'm just sort of standing
There's
in the
no
room.
pre-interview. There's no plan.
no bullshit,
Obviously,
yeah.
it's like
and people fuck up and they say weird things, and all of a sudden I remember hearing
People fuck.
I remember
So
hearing
true.
Zach Galifianakis made me laugh. I'm
Oh, yeah.
big, so I'm always in hotels
great.
or in a tour bus bunk. I listen to podcasts when I sleep. So I'll throw on a podcast, and then I feel like my friends are in the next room, and then I go, it makes me feel like not alone. I don't know, whatever. So I remember listening to Zach Galifianakis on Nerdist. This is, I don't know how many years ago this was.
Nerdist.
And he said, they said, he was like, do you do drugs still? And he goes, yeah, I just did mushrooms and went to the Getty with my cousin. And he goes, you know how like you'll misread things? And he goes, it said, please don't touch the statues. But I thought it said, please touch the statues. And he was like, and I was like, oh yeah. He's like, oh, mushrooms. He's like, yeah, these are, it'd be good to stroke them. He's like, oh, around stroking. I remember waking up laughing hysterically going, it's just Zach's delivery, the way he says things.
He's great.
But yeah, I'm a huge podcast fan, so I kind of like I get excited. Like when you guys started your podcast, I got really excited because I was like, oh fuck yeah, this is what I'm looking for, something else to like. I listen to health podcasts, history podcasts, comedy podcasts I love. Tim Dillon's the best podcaster person on the planet right now.
brilliant.
Without a doubt, he is so money.
I agree. He's got so much. He's just got something. Great voice, funny attitude, just
Best
takes
person
on
to
a lot of
gossip with.
things. Yeah,
he gets to the essence and then he just grinds it, and brilliant at just riffing.
My favorite out of all, like, and this is what was really cool with when podcasting started, like, my favorite thing in the world is to, like, tell you a great Norm Macdonald story that maybe you weren't there for, but because you know him, it's even that better, for that richer for you.
It's fun, yeah.
Like, it's like, I remember Norm and Joe hanging out and just watching this interact. It's one of the funniest things ever. I would never say it on air because I don't know how it would be perceived, and Norm's past, and but the gossip of stand up, the inside stories of stand up, and that's what podcasting was when we started. Was like just gossip, and it was so fucking good. I mean, you would get the juice. Like, did I ever tell you the story about the ... And I remember being on the edge of my seat listening to podcasts going, no. Like, people would go on Rogan and just, no one thought we were listening. Like, they would just talk.
Right. That was the interesting, because you get in there. When I used to do Stern, it was sort of like that, where you're in a room like this and you're also trying to impress him a little bit, and he's digging and he's pushes in there, and then you walk out of there and my phone starts buzzing going, what the fuck did you just say? And I'm like, what? And then people are like, hey, you didn't tell that story about me, did you? I go, I don't know. And then, but you do it and it has tentacles. It gets to people and they go, oh, you got to hear when he goes on here, or because Stern was like my sort of podcast, because I got to go on there once a year and then tell stuff, and then podcasting got bigger. But I thought you, Joe, Theo, like there's a lot of guys got into it early, and it really paid off.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I always liked, like, I loved Stern. I know I loved Opie and Anthony also.
Yeah.
I loved when someone would walk in the room and you didn't know who it was, and you'd be like, oh, well, look who just walked in, and I'd be sitting in my car like, what? Like, that
is fun.
Yeah, but I loved that, and so I like with the beginning of this podcast, it just starts with us sitting down and talking. Yeah. I love that shit. On a podcast, I'm like, Joe used to have a phone in his place that would ring out of nowhere, and he'd be doing a podcast when he did it out of his house, and his phone would ring, and he'd go, I don't even fucking know. That number's dead. I don't know who it is anyway. I used to get a kick out of that. And I remember going to his house. I was like, yeah, what is that phone number? Because I was like, I'll start calling when I know he's doing podcasts.
Yeah.
Like, it was just, I don't know. It was fun, but then at the same time, look, there's, you look at, like, people, they comb through all the shit they've ever said on a podcast, and I look at it and I go, I did a podcast with Joe one time that was like 5.5 hours, and I got home and they had to take it down. And I was like,
oh, wow.
I was like, what did I say? And he was like, don't worry, it's taken out. We're good. And I was like,
what could it be?
And then you're laying in bed. I was like, did I say that COVID was created by the government? Like, and you're like, because you just talk shit,
5.5
not realizing.
Because you're like at dinner, you're just laughing and talking
it's
shit.
the funnest.
Trying to crack each other up.
But then you get like, do you remember my interview with, that I did with Sandler?
I saw some of it.
It was so
during the pandemic, right?
Fucking bad. Yes.
No. And you got a tape measure with your wife.
But that's
yes.
Yeah.
I don't remember this.
That's
why was it
thing.
bad? I mean,
okay, so this is the thing that I think is the thing about podcasting, right? So like, so they're doing Comedy Gives Back, and they're like, hey, and can you do interviews? We're going to do interviews, and it was like maybe 3 days of what are these things, Zooms.
Yeah. I was on
so
Zoom.
Whitney hits me up. She's like, hey, I've got to interview Sandler, and I know you're a fan of his. Did you want to be here for that interview? And I was like, fuck yes. Now, everyone's supposed to be socially distant. All these, there's so many rules. Everyone's being stickers about it. So she's like, I'll have a tape measure. We'll stay 6 feet apart, and it'll be fun. And I fucked that interview up so bad. Like, I didn't realize I fucked it up, which is what made it beautiful to other comics.
Yeah.
Because I got out of the interview. I got in my car.
Thinking you scored.
I hit a home run. First person that called was Mike Gibbons. And he goes, fucking Sandler, dude. Epic. And I was like, thank you. And he goes, dude, I am crying. We're sitting around crying, laughing, watching it. And I go, well, I didn't think it was that funny. I thought it was just informative. And he goes, funny. You asked the guy if he had Netflix. And I was like, yeah, he didn't answer. Do you think he does? He goes, Bert, he's got a $230 million deal at Netflix. He definitely has fucking Netflix. He goes, you didn't even let him talk. And then my phone rings on the other side, and it's Big J. Okerson. And he goes, I go, hang on, Mike. And Big J's like, dude, fucking Sandler, that was out of, just so you know, we're about to trash you for the next 20 minutes on this Zoom. And I was like, wait, was it bad? He goes, you called his movie Precious Gems. I go, is that not the name of it? And he goes, you said his other movie was Happy Madison. And I go, is it not Happy Madison? He goes, it's the name of his production company. They're like, dude, you didn't let the guy speak. You have the biggest movie star in comedy on thing, and you told him stories about times you almost met him. And so, but like, if you can have a sense of humor about yourself, that's what podcasting is. Like if I did that on Today's Show, people would be like, he'd be like, he ruined a great interview.
Listen, first of all, Sandler wouldn't care. And second of all...
Well, you texted. So I was terrified.
Oh, is that what happened?
You voice texted me, and you're like, the Sandler interview, huh? And you're like, don't worry. I think you said something to the effect of, don't worry, he watched your special. He liked it.
Yeah, that's right.
And then...
because try to be the middleman, because I didn't want you to freak out like something wrong happened.
Then Norm hit me up.
Hey, Sandler,
but
that
it was
good
about
what you did with
Chicago
Adam there.
Blackhawks game and what's the under.
Norm would always say, he'd always say the opposite. Yeah, it was a real good interview, right? I liked it,
He goes, that was funny because it wasn't funny. Yeah. I liked it because it was bad.
Hey, you're like when Farley interviewed Paul McCartney.
Well, you had a lot of energy and you were coming right up into the frame, and Adam was sort of on his heels. Like he was very relaxed at a desk or something.
Bad.
So he was just sort of relaxed. And so it was a funny mismatch because you were just so excited and you came forward into the, so your head was gigantic and Adam was,
He was just back on his heels the whole time.
Whatever happened with COVID. Anyway, let's let Bert go because he's fucking great. I could talk to this guy all day.
I could talk. I gotta have you guys. I gotta have you guys on my podcast, but more importantly, I want to have you guys on my cooking show too.
You have a cooking show?
I do a cooking show called Something's Burning, and
that's right. Yeah, I saw your website.
I do it.
Do you have 3 podcasts, or am I crazy?
I technically have 3.
2 bears.
I have 4 technically. I do 2 bears, Bertcasts, Open Tabs, which I'd love to bring. I'd love to do with guests. So what I do is I leave all my tabs on Safari browser open throughout the weekend as I Google stuff, and just whatever I Google, King Leopold. And then whatever I learn from it, I go through the tabs on the podcast and close them.
That's a separate one.
That's a separate one. And then I have got Something's Burning.
You have something with Bill Burr or no?
No, we don't have that anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, and so
Something's Burning is a cooking show.
Is my cooking show. And so I bring 2 people. We do it right now. We do it out of my current house, but we just bought a house to build a kitchen to do it out of.
Rich motherfucker.
Oh, shut up.
I had your money. I'd throw mine away.
Wait, do you Zillow houses when you go to them?
Do I do what?
Zillow houses?
Yeah. I Zillow when I don't need a house. I just Zillow. It's fun. I just look around.
I Zillow everything. But no, we bought a house down the street because my kitchen isn't perfect. So we just got a house that had a kitchen we could tear down and build a new kitchen and put my podcast studio in, put my wife's podcast studio in, and do production offices out of, so that we could just, because it's like the cooking show took off. I put Bobby Lee and Mark Norman in on it, got like 1.7 million views in like 2 weeks. And then Jim Jeffries, I put him on. No, I didn't put him on. He was a guest on my show.
No one likes lesbians. Is that guy?
No, he was telling me about mutton. No one likes mutton. Mutton's the old grown up. You want the lamb. You want the lamb shank the babies. It's like women.
Jim Jeffrey, he's with Alex too.
He's Australian.
He's with our guys. He's funny as shit. Bobby Lee always cracks me up.
This week we have Steve-O and Andy Letterman. Then we have the banger. The banger. And this will be the one that legit, like, I don't think you'll ever, like, I don't, unless you're interviewing, sometimes you don't seek out their podcast. There is, without a doubt, you guys will watch Tim Dillon and Whitney Cummings. It will be the biggest thing.
Him making fun of Whitney is pretty good too while they're doing it.
It is.
Did you already do it?
I already did it.
Okay.
I almost passed out laughing twice. Tim Dillon
cooking
is so fucking funny.
Is he berating Whitney?
I remember, just like a highlight. I remember at one point, and this isn't even remotely the funniest thing he said. Right. She said, I have a lot of good ideas. And Tim goes, 1, She goes, what? And he goes, one, you've had one good idea that you shared in a room with other men who helped execute it. One good idea.
So they have that kind of relationship.
She goes, Tim, if you were making me dinner, what would you be making me today? And he goes, I don't know. Percocet pudding? Because it's got Percocets in it, Whitney. He's the fucking greatest.
Yeah, he's
the
great.
fuck. And that
awesome.
episode will be very big because Tim is just, look, I have no money invested in the guy. He really is the best.
Yeah.
Neither do I.
He is the best.
But he
He's
does.
hysterical.
Not everyone cracks me up. He cracks me up. Omaha, of all places, quickly. Why Omaha? Just good middle America.
I'm very neurotic. So like when I knew what shoes you wear on your special, I have rules to specials. And number one rule is I have to shoot specials in a market that I've performed in a lot that I have that has not seen the material yet. So
this is a real last question.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you have to do another special? Because I feel like even my guy goes, all right, your special did great. Let's get the next one. I go, fucking hey, dude, let me just live with this material for a while because it's hard. You want it to be good, and it's hard to just flip it.
After this tour 2023, I could be the idea is to be able to take some time off to do other projects, but in order to do another project, you kind of get take your stand up hat off and put your production hat on or your acting hat on, and like because stand up for me is all encompassing, and it's all I think about. It actually is even tough for me when I'm getting ready for a special because I'm not free thinking the way I am before. You know, I'm really kind of dialed in on getting this one
locking it in
thing polished and sparkled up and like getting like putting all the rhinestones on it so
nuance,
that you know. But yeah, I feel like after this tour I'll have new material. I mean, I would love to keep doing specials, but I would like to be one of those guys that takes a couple years off. And instead of doing them every fucking
say hi to your kids,
months,
does other things.
No, they're in college. I don't need them anymore.
Fuck them.
I'm getting ready to meet my second wife.
The idea that you full circle.
I mean, I got to meet this lady, right? She's getting out of high school.
The fact that you do 9-minute bits is I remember because I got John Lovitz into stand up. They're going, you're funny. It's a good income stream, and he loves it. But I remember he'd written a few things. He goes, I'm out of ideas. How do I get any more material? And I say, well, take the material you have and expand it.
Yeah, you run
He
it.
goes, oh. And every time I see him, you've saved me a lot of time.
Well, have you ever
that's
done
the way he talks. But you doing 9-minute pieces based on a story, because it seems like that's helpful in terms of getting to that hour.
Well, it's frustrating. So like there's a bit that I'm closing my special with now that happened fucking 4 years ago that I've been working on for 4 years. But you bring up in bits at the store, you'll be like, all right, did anyone done this? And then you start working it and you get a couple. For me, it's a couple nuggets inside it where you can get a few laughs. And then once you can do that, then you focus on the thickness of it, hoping you can figure out an ending.
Way out.
Once you get the
That's
ending,
the
then you can
tough
skinny
part.
everything out
Yeah.
and just tell a short story.
Yeah.
And
The
so,
ending is the tough part.
endings are everyone telling stories. The one mistake comics don't make is a story people need to know it's over.
Yeah.
Because if they don't, it's gotta pop. It's gotta and if you don't have the pop, don't record it. Wait till you got the pop. Wait till you got the thing where you say, fuck that bitch, this is Russia. Where everyone knows the story's complete. That's the end of the show.
Either applause or at least we know it's over. You're going to the next thing.
Yeah.
I hated that on my special, I think I had two that were a little undercooked, but I loved them.
Yeah.
And
That's
then
the name of
Wait,
your
which
next
one were they?
special,
Which ones were they?
it was ones where I go, they beefed out since, and I go, am I cheating? Because now it's a fully formed bit that's 3 minutes longer, but I go, but the nugget of it, which is a couple laughs, but now it's turned into a whole thing, and you go, fuck, but it's still, the root of it was that.
Well, that's the problem I have with ours is I literally have a bunch of undercooked stuff, and then the idea is which ones are the which ones will be the best meals, because sometimes you got to take ones that are even like I have like 2 bits that are fully cooked now, but it just they don't fit in the hour. It just doesn't make sense in that hour.
Where do you put them?
And I've told them a lot on the road, and I just got to take them out, and I can't use them for my next hour because I've already told them a bunch, so I got to write new stuff and then hope that I can take ingredients out and re-put them in somewhere.
Paprika.
I mean, I like I don't know. Right now is my favorite part of an hour is I had everyone go watch it last week.
Yeah.
And they all signed off on it. Everyone's like, holy shit, that's a great hour. And I was like, for real? Because I'm so close to it. I was like, even this part? And they're like, yeah. And I go, even this part? Like, you guys like this part? There's one thing I did on I was like, what? And what about this one thing which I thought was really good? And they're like, it's not that good. And I was like, shut the fuck up. And so I've got the actual hour, but now's my favorite part where you like tonight I'm going to the store, I'm doing 3 shows, and all I need are certain tags inside jokes. So I just got to work on. I'll take the bit I need is wine tasting. I have a big thing about wine tasting, and so all I need are some good gems inside a wine tasting bit. So right now I'm going to go on stage and just talk about wine tasting,
David.
And the one line I wrote is, which I thought was funny, and I'll tell it, but hopefully it makes a special. But you go into wine tasting and they just pour you like the little bits of wine, like we're about to get our assholes eaten by Michael Jackson, and so that's the bit
that's
I like.
That's a good word package.
Yeah, because that's how he did it, I think.
Jesus shoes.
Jesus shoes. Yeah. So I got like 10 of those written in my book of who would drink just a little bit of wine, why they would drink that little wine, and then how do I force that into. I walk in and they've got little bits of wine like ... So that's the funnest part of stand-up of a special for me is that, because I'll go through my hour and there's lazy writing. My dad opens 3 doors. First door, and it's my lazy writings is like, fuck you, cocksucker, eat my ass, like whatever. Yeah. And then all of a sudden you're like, I should probably write a joke in there instead of just cursing.
You're like, it'll still work, but I should probably write a joke.
It'll still work.
All right.
Wow.
I appreciate it, guys. Thank you. It's I mean, like I said.
This was so much fun. You have an incredible amount of energy.
Well, thank you. Well, I'm sober.
This is a toned down Bert, by the way, for the audience.
We'll do another drinking one.
I can do 2 drinks.
Oh, definitely. Just give me some Stellas or something like that.
I'll drink beers.
I just drink beers.
Cold beers or
ice cold beers.
An ice cold beer buzz is out of this world.
That's right. That's after a run, or I go hiking, and then a couple of beers.
After a run, they sparkle.
Well, just your whole body, you get on a whole other thing. So yeah, that'll be fun.
I'm a runner. Are you a runner?
Well, I was. Now I'm a hiker because I have a little bit of a hip thing. But I was a huge runner for years. Yeah, really into it. So you can still run
5 miles this morning.
Knees, hips, everything good.
Overweight, I feel a little more in my knees and in my feet.
You look pretty good though.
Well, it's because I don't just look bloated and splotchy because I've been drinking. I 20 days off the sauce, so I feel like, and I've lost a little bit of weight, but not as much as you'd think. So
good.
Right, but yeah, it must feel great. But yeah, you're good with the shoes and everything. You know all about your pronation.
Oh, I'm a hardcore pronator. I film myself running in slow motion, and you can see me actually pronate. It's really
pronation
horrible.
Is good to a point.
When you get a boner?
But too much is not good. Pronation. We're talking. It's shocking.
I know. I gotta go.
Anyway, no, that's a great habit. Running is awesome. I think it's the purest, wonderful. Oh, David,
by the way, I met my soulmate today.
Between the fear of flying, running, and the beer buzz after the running. Yeah, we'll fly somewhere together.
Let's fly, go run, and drink.
Yes, that's it. We'll definitely do that for sure.
It.
Yeah.
This has been a podcast presentation of Cadence 13. Please listen, then rate, review, and follow all episodes. Available now for free wherever you get your podcast.
No joke, folks. Fly on the Wall has been a presentation of Cadence 13, executive produced by Dana Carvey and David Spade, Chris Corcoran of Cadence 13, and Charlie Finan of Brillstein Entertainment.
The show's lead producer is Greg Holtzman with production and engineering support from Serena Regan and Chris Basil of Cadence 13.